Part 29. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 282. By the way, Xiao Yu, where do you live now? Songkir asked again. I live over there in Lujia's. Why? Do you live on your own or in a shared apartment? Live alone. After Lu Kaiyu finished speaking, she thought for a while and explained, it's the accommodation arranged by the company. When Songkir heard this, she became even more envious. On the Shanghai Stock Exchange, even company executives are not provided with accommodation. She glanced at Lu Kaiyu and said tentatively, Xiao Yu, can I stay with you for a few days? Won't the company cover the Shanghai Stock Exchange? Lu Kaiyu was a little surprised. Don't wrap it up. Songkir followed up by saying, maybe senior executives like you will cover it, but we ordinary employees certainly won't. Who am I? Why doesn't it count? You are the president's secretary. Xiao Yu, can you let me stay for a few days? The landlord suddenly asked me to move, but I haven't found a suitable house yet. It's not that Songkir really can't find a house, it's mainly because she has no money. She spends money too lavishly. Not only can she not save any money every month, she also owes a lot of money on her credit card, just waiting for her salary to save her life. Before meeting Lu Kaiyu, she planned to find a hotel to deal with for a few days, but the hotels in Shanghai were too expensive. The house is arranged by the company, and I can't make the decision. Lu Kaiyu declined. Wouldn't letting Songkir move in affect her and Li Zhe's world? Xiao Yu, as long as you don't let the company know about it, I will stay here for a few days and sleep in the living room. I will move out as soon as my salary is paid. Seeing Lu Kaiyu's hesitation, Songkir took her hand and begged, Xiao Yu, please help me, okay? Lu Kaiyu looked at Songkir and couldn't help but refuse. The relationship between the two is quite good. When she worked part-time before, she often stayed in Songkir's dormitory. Okay. But, 1 week at most. Lu Kaiyu agreed. When Li Zhe left last night, he said that he was going abroad on a business trip this week and could just let Songkir stay for a few days. That's great. Thank you Kaiyu, you have helped me a lot. When Lu Kaiyu agreed, Songkir immediately beamed and thanked her repeatedly. After eating and saying goodbye to Songkir, Lu Kaiyu returned to the office and continued playing on the computer boredly. Just when she thought the day was over, she received a call from Li Zhe. After the two chatted privately for a while, Li Zhe gave her a task. In the afternoon, he would go to the crew of Uncanny on his behalf and express condolences to the staff. Finally something has been done, Lu Kaiyu said in her heart. She did nothing and got paid in vain. Even if Li Zhe was her boyfriend, Lu Kaiyu still felt a little uncomfortable. Besides, she also wanted to help Li Zhe share some work. At around 1 p.m., Lu Kaiyu got on a minibus and headed to the set of Uncanny with 2 employees from Cuckoo Entertainment. There are 2 employees of Cuckoo Entertainment, 1 male and 1 female, both in their 20s and 30s. The female is Zhou Tingting and the male is Wu Xiang. There was also a middle-aged driver in his 40s who drove the car. Because they were not familiar with each other, Lu Kaiyu just chatted briefly with Zhou Tingting. More than an hour later, the car arrived where the crew was. On the outskirts of the city, an out-of-service gas station. When director Su Zheng saw Lu Kaiyu and the others coming, he paused filming and came over with deputy director Xing Boking, executive director Zhang Liman and others. Lu Kaiyu, directors and staff such as Su Zheng and Xing Boking exchanged a few polite words and asked Zhou Tingting and Wu Xiang to distribute the condolences to everyone. The consolation items mainly include watermelon, drinks, and summer cooling tea. The crew members were given watermelon and drinks, and they all found their own places to rest. Lu Kaiyu, Zhou Tingting, and Wu Xiang also found a shady place to stay. She planned to watch the crew filming a scene before leaving. Yang Hao came over and greeted warmly, Commissioner of Cultural Affairs. No, It's time to change your name to Secretary Lu now. His Higang also came over to say hello to Lu Kaiyu. Lu Kaiyu smiled and nodded to the two of them, and then said to Yang Hao, "Farewell Secretary Lu, please call me Kaiyu." Yang Hao smiled and said in a joking tone, "How about I call you sister-in-law?" When Lu Kaiyu heard this, she couldn't help but blush a little, but she didn't refute. Luan Xiaolin sat a little close to Lu Kaiyu and the others, and faintly heard Yang Hao's joke. She held the hand holding the water to drink, and couldn't help but pause, then subconsciously looked towards Lu Kaiyu. Luan Xiaolin looked at Lu Kaiyu, and her eyes focused on the latter's long legs. Noticing Luan Xiaolin looking at her, Lu Kaiyu also looked at her. Glancing at Luan Xiaolin, her eyes focused on the other person's long legs. Lu Kaiyu and Luan Xiaolin looked at each other, feeling vaguely hostile to each other. In fact, the two of them had known each other for a long time, but they only knew each other and had barely exchanged a few words with each other. But now, both of them are vaguely aware that the relationship between the other party and Li Jie is not simple. Why did Li Jie choose her as his secretary? Why did Li Jie choose her as the heroine? Lu Kaiyu, this guy with long legs is probably having an affair with Li Jie. Luan Xiaolin, these long legs definitely have an affair with Li Jie. This is the voice of two long-legged people. Noticing that Yang Hao's eyes were wandering between Lu Kaiyu and Luan Xiaolin, His Higang also noticed something. His emotional intelligence was gradually increasing now. I couldn't help but complain in my heart, Li Jie is such a carefree guy. However, His Higang didn't have the time to care about this now, he was just worried. He was having a hard time on the set. Huo Menjian deliberately kept a distance from him. Even Yang Hao no longer stayed with him. During her breaks, she always stayed with the leading actors. What was even more difficult for His Higang to accept was that the executive director Zhang Liman was so disrespectful. As long as he makes a little mistake, the other person will curse him when he opens his mouth. It was okay to scold him. He endured it, but Zhang Liman actually scolded Huo Menjian. He scolded her and made her cry. If Huo Menjian hadn't stopped him last night, His Higang would have really wanted to hit him. But what made him even more uncomfortable was that when he helped Huo Menjian, she not only didn't appreciate it, but even complained about him. His Higang sighed in his heart. He didn't know the meaning of staying on the set. Was he being ordered around like a handyman? After Lu Kaiyu visited the crew to express her condolences to the crew of Uncanny, she returned to the company and stayed for a while. She got off work on time at 6 p.m. Her job is from 9 to 6, with weekends off, which is extremely relaxing. At around 9 o'clock in the evening, Song Kair moved over. She didn't have many things, only 2 boxes and a set of quilts. Song Karen followed Lu Kaiyu into the house, looked around, and couldn't help but said in surprise, "Xiao Yu, your conditions are too good. The 2 bedrooms and 1 living room are at least 100 square meters. The decoration is extremely luxurious, and the furniture and electrical appliances are all available. It looks like high-end goods at first glance." She had only seen a house like this in TV series. Song Kair glanced at Lu Kaiyu. That boss is willing to arrange such a nice house for his employees. Isn't she being kept by Li Jie? This is Li Jie's house. He just let me stay temporarily. Lu Kaiyu did not say that it was arranged by the company this time. She asked Anya in the afternoon and learned that in Shanghai, the company does not provide accommodation for either senior executives or ordinary employees. Song Kair said tentatively, "Xiao Yu, you have 2 bedrooms and 1 living room. How about we share it? I will pay the rent for you. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn." Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 283. Lu Kaiyu smiled and refused, "Kair, this is Li Jie's house. I'm only temporarily renting it. I can't make the decision. Also, you promised me that you would only stay for a few days." Lu Kaiu agreed to stay with Songkir for a few days just because of the good relationship between the two. But before Li Jie comes back, she has to move away. Okay, Songkir nodded. She was not stupid, and she could hear the meaning behind Lu Kaiu's words. The other party did not want her to stay here for a long time. Seeing that Songkir was about to move things to the second bedroom, Lu Kaiu stopped her. Kr, I'm just staying here. I can't touch other rooms without Li Jie's permission. You should sleep in the master bedroom with me. July 11th. After Li Jie picked up Xiao Jiao at Hongqiao Airport at noon, he went back to her small duplex apartment with her. As soon as she returned to the apartment, Xiao Jiao pestered Li Jie and asked him to give her a massage. After the massage was over, Li Jie hugged her tenderly after refusing Xiao Jiao's request for more time. Xiao Jiao lay in Li Jie's arms and looked up at him. Husband, didn't you get a good rest last night? She noticed that he was tired. Li Jie smiled at her and said, It's okay. I just had a lot of things to do at the company last night. I was busy with my schedule and slept a little late. Upon hearing this, Xiao Jiao said very considerately, Hubby, then you should get some sleep quickly. Okay, Li Jie hugged her and then closed his eyes. He just fell asleep and woke up again. The president told him to sleep, but she was dishonest. Xiao Jiao said to her heart under the quilt, what else could Li Jie say about how busy the company is? I really think she is stupid. He must have gone to accompany someone else last night. He was energetic when he was with others, but he was no longer energetic when it came to her. Why? She wanted to teach Li Jie a lesson and let him know that hugging him from left to right was not so enjoyable. Let's see if he dares to provoke more girls in the future. On the 12th and 13th, Li Jie stayed with Xiao Jiao for 2 days. In the past 2 days, the two of them didn't go out. They just stayed in the apartment and got tired of being together. Li Jie found that Xiao Jiao was a bit clingy, so he took him to discuss massage techniques. The problem is, the two of them have nothing to do in the apartment. So there were a lot of discussions. Li Jie was both enjoying and troubled by this. Of course it would be no problem for him to deal with Xiao Jiao alone. Adding Zhou Ziyu, the problem is not big. But if Lu Kaiu and Shen Xinyi were added to the mix, it would be a bit beyond his ability to deal with 4 of them at the same time. It seems that we really need to rein in our worries and can no longer be greedy. On the morning of July 14th, Li Jie and Xiao Jiao took a flight back to Xishan. After the plane arrived in Xishan, after leaving the airport, Li Jie did not accompany Xiao Jiao directly home, but took her to Xishan city first. Jiao Bao, have you disclosed our affairs to your uncle and aunt? Li Jie asked Xiao Jiao. Xiao Jiao bit her lip and smiled, not yet, hubby, I totally depend on you. Li Jie looked at her and shook his head inwardly. The president was putting all the problems on him. Xiao Jiao smiled and glanced at him, husband, you don't have to worry too much. In the worst case, I will run away from home and elope with you. She looked eager to give it a try, as if she wished she could really run away from home and elope. Li Jie almost laughed at her and tapped her on the head, okay, don't think it's such a big deal. Xiao Jiao smiled coquettishly and glanced at Li Jie. If her parents didn't agree, she would really elope with Li Jie. It would be absolutely impossible for her to give up anyway. After arriving in the city, Li Jie first went to a car rental shop and rented a black Audi A8. When a son-in-law comes to visit, he must decorate his appearance, not only for his father-in-law and mother-in-law, but also for his neighbors, relatives, and friends. Many times, people live just to save face. After renting the car, Li Jie drove Xiao Jiao and started shopping for gifts. Good cigarettes, good wine, high-end supplements, digital products, etc. Li Jie and Xiao Jiao spent the whole afternoon shopping. When they finished shopping, it was already dark. Seeing that it was too late, Li Jie found a hotel and stayed with Xiao Jiao in the city. Early the next morning, Li Jie drove Xiao Jiao to her home. Xiao Jiao's home is in Xinchi County under the jurisdiction of Xishan, a town on the outskirts of the county. Her parents are teachers in the middle school and primary school in the town. More than an hour later, the Audi A8 drove into the town and stopped slowly in front of the family building of the town middle school. Seeing an Audi parked in front of the building, residents coming in and out of the family building would subconsciously glance at it, guessing who had another relative coming. Most of the people living in this family building are teachers and employees of the school, and almost all the residents know each other. Li Jie and Xiao Jiao got out of the car together. He opened the trunk, looked at a lot of things inside, and then asked Xiao Jiao. Jiao Bao, which floor is your home on? Fourth floor. Xiao Jiao also looked at the things in the trunk and said with a smile, Husband, you have to work hard to move so many things up. Don't bother, the cigarettes and alcohol are all in boxes. Li Jie gave her a funny look and said, Don't laugh either. If I want to move, you have to move with me. When Xiao Jiao heard this, he stopped laughing immediately. Let's take a few things upstairs first, and pick up the rest later. Li Jie got 2 cigarettes and 2 bottles of wine, and then asked Xiao Jiao to get 2 boxes of supplements. The two of them carried their things and walked upstairs. At this moment, a middle-aged man in his early 40s wearing glasses just came out of the building. The middle-aged man was stunned for a moment when he saw Li Jie and Xiao Jiao. Then he smiled and said to Xiao Jiao, you are back from vacation. Xiao Jiao smiled and nodded, Uncle Zhao, are you going out? I have something to go to the county town for. The middle-aged man said, looking at Li Jie, noticing the cigarettes and alcohol in his hand, and his eyes paused. Tobacco is China and wine is Maotai. Is this your boyfriend? Xiao Jiao blushed and snorted lightly. Not bad, what a talent, the middle-aged man praised Li Jie. After saying a few polite words, the middle-aged man left first. Li Jie and Xiao Jiao also continued walking into the building. Why are you laughing? Xiao Jiao couldn't help but ask after noticing that Li Jie glanced at her with a smile. Nothing. Li Jie suppressed his smile. You must have no good intentions, Xiao Jiao smiled and glared at him. Li Jie felt funny when he thought about Xiao Jiao pretending to be a good girl just now. Who would have thought that this good girl like her would be a little devil in bed? Even sometimes, he would be taken into the car by her before he could react. The two went up to the 4th floor. Xiao Jiao led Li Jie to the door of a house, took out the key, and opened the door. In the living room, Mother Jiao was cleaning. When she saw her daughter coming in, she suddenly showed a look of surprise. Xiao Jiao, why didn't you call when you came back? She paused before she could finish her words, and saw a boy walking in with her daughter. Did her daughter bring a boy home? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 284. Xiao Jiao, who is this? Mother Jiao asked hesitantly. Xiao Jiao hugged Li Jie's arm and introduced with a smile, Mom, this is my classmate Li Jie, who is also my boyfriend. After Xiao Jiao finished speaking, Li Jie's very polite Mother Jiao greeted her and said, Hello, Aunt, I am Li Jie. Mother Jiao suppressed her inner surprise and greeted with a smile, Xiao Jie, right? You are welcome to my home. Come and sit down. Li Jie said with a smile, Auntie, this is my first time here. I don't know what you and Uncle like, so I just bought something casually. Mother Jiao glanced at the cigarettes and wine in Li Jie's hand, and then at the supplements in her daughter's hand. Chinese, mutai, ginseng, and deer antler are all high-end gifts. It's good that people are here. There's no need to bring gifts. Besides, it's too expensive. Xiao Jiao smiled and said coquettishly, "Mom, you don't have to be polite to Li Jie, this little thing is nothing to him." When Mother Jiao heard this, she immediately understood that the boyfriend her daughter had brought back must have a very good family background. "Put your things down first, and sit down quickly." She didn't say whether to put the things away or not. Li Jie and Xiao Jiao put their things on the coffee table and sat down on the sofa. "Xiao Jiao, there is fruit in the refrigerator. Go and wash some for Xiao Jie." "Oh." Xiao Jiao got up and went to the kitchen to wash the fruits. As they passed each other, Mother Jiao gave her daughter a hidden look. This girl didn't even tell her family that she had a boyfriend, but suddenly he showed up at her door, catching her off guard. Mother Jiao also sat down on the sofa and began to inquire about Li Jie's situation. "Xiao Jie, are you and Xiao Jiao in the same class?" "No, Xiao Jiao and I are just classmates at the same school." "Then how did you meet?" "We met by chance. I fell in love with Xiao Jiao as soon as I saw her, and then I began to pursue her. We pursued her for more than half a year before we got together." Li Jie covered up for Xiao Jiao, not saying that she was so unreserved, and he got it as soon as he chased her. Although he liked her lack of reserve, he couldn't tell his elders. Mother Jiao nodded. She knew her daughter very well. She was very well behaved and would not be easily deceived by boys. "So you've only been together for a short time?" "Well, less than a semester." "Xiao Jie, where are you from?" "I'm from the Northeast." "Then what do your parents do?" "My father is an ordinary worker, and my mother opened a small clinic in the countryside." Mother Jiao was a little surprised when she heard this. "The family conditions are not very good, right?" Li Jie smiled when he saw this and said, "I made some money writing books online, and then used the money I earned to open a small company." Mother Jiao was even more surprised when she heard this. "Xiao Jie, how old are you this year?" "I'm 1 year older than Xiao Jiao, but I went to school a year later, and I'm in the same class as her." "Come, eat some fruit." At this time, Xiao Jiao came back with a plate of washed apples. Sitting next to Li Jie, she first brought an apple to Li Jie, then picked up another apple and opened her mouth to bite it. Li Jie stopped Xiao Jiao and took the apple to help her peel it. When Mother Jiao saw her, she said to her daughter, "You are so grown up now. Eat an apple and ask Xiaojie to peel it for you." Xiao Jiao glanced at Li Jie, smiled and said coquettishly to Mother Jiao, "He is willing to help me peel it." Mother Jiao also glanced at Li Jie. She was quite satisfied with this boy. Although he is not very old, he is very calm and good looking. He looks kind and reliable. Although his family conditions are average, he is very capable and has a successful career before he graduates. More importantly, she could see that this boy really liked her daughter and was very kind to her. Although Mother Jiao doesn't want her daughter to fall in love too early, she has already brought someone home, so what can she do? I have to say that Li Jie, with his thick eyebrows and big eyes, is indeed easy to please his mother-in-law. Mother Jiao didn't find out at all that this guy was a scumbag, but she thought he was quite reliable. "I'm going out to buy some food, Xiaojie, what do you like to eat?" Mother Jiao stood up. "Auntie, don't bother me. I can just eat whatever you want," Li Jie said politely with a smile. "How can that be okay? You are a guest," Mother Jiao insisted. Xiao Jiao smiled and said, "Mom, you don't have to treat him as a guest, just treat him as one of your own family members." Mother Jiao glanced at her daughter. This girl was not married yet, but her heart was already elsewhere. After Mother Jiao left, Li Jie immediately relaxed. Xiao Jiao smiled and asked, "Husband, were you nervous just now?" Li Jie glanced at her, smiled and said, "Why am I nervous? Didn't you say that if I can't pass the test, you will elope with me? In the worst case, I will elope with you. In a few years, when we have 7 or 8 children, and we bring the children back to see your parents, I won't believe that they still don't recognize me as their son-in-law. 7 or 8 children. When Xiao Jiao heard this, she stopped and said coquettishly, "How many years do you have? 7 or 8 children? Do you think I'm a pig? I will give you 1 baby at most." "What if it's twins?" Li Jie asked with a smile. "Then give birth to 2. "What if it's triplets?" "Li Jie, it's fun for you to tease me, isn't it?" Xiao Jiao smiled and gave him a hammer. Li Jie put his arm around her slender waist and said with a smile, "Take me to your room to see you." Following Xiao Jiao to her room, Li Jie took a look. The room is not big, only 6 or 7 square meters, but it is clean, tidy, and warmly decorated. Light pink curtains, bed, and a stuffed bear doll on the bedside. There are table lamps, photo frames, pen holders, and other objects on the white desk next to the bed, and there are several celebrity and animation posters on the wall. Li Jie picked up the photo frame on the desk, took a look at it, and couldn't help but smile. This should be a photo of Xiao Jiao when she was in junior high school. She has short hair and a little dark skin. She looks like a tomboy, but she still has a nice smile. No wonder no one chased you in junior high. Xiao Jiao was not happy when he heard this and snatched the photo frame over. "Who says no one chases me? There were many boys chasing me in junior high school." "Yeah," Li Jie said with a smile, "then who told me last time that I had a crush on someone else in junior high school and even put love letters in their books? As a result, they reported me and told the teacher." Xiao Jiao. She shouldn't have told Li Jie her privacy. Xiao Jiao got angry and beat him several times. Li Jie smiled and let her hit her. With Xiao Jiao's little strength, the beating didn't hurt. Besides, she couldn't bear to hit him really hard. His eyes lingered on the bookshelf above the desk. "What are you looking for?" Xiao Jiao asked. "Jiao Bao, where are your photo albums and diaries? Let me enjoy them." "No, I can't show it to you. This seems to be a photo album, right?" "Hey, don't take it." The two got into a fight, and the fuss ended up on the bed. "Husband," Xiao Jiao said coquettishly while lying on Li Jie. "What do you want to do?" Seeing that the president was using coquettish tactics again, Li Jie guessed something. "Let's get a massage." "Don't make trouble." "What, you don't want to?" Xiao Jiao said and took the initiative to ask for a kiss. "No way. Auntie, you might be back anytime." If he was really blocked in the room by Mother Jiao, Li Jie felt that no matter how thick-skinned he was, he would be embarrassed to death. "It's okay, my mother can't buy groceries that fast. Let's make a quick decision." Xiao Jiao started to take off his clothes. Li Jie suddenly felt something was wrong. Are their roles reversed? Li Jie sighed softly in his heart, turned over and pinned Xiao Jiao underneath him. Although he didn't want to, his girlfriend said so, so he had to do it. Mother Jiao bought a lot of vegetables and fish in the supermarket in the town. She saw someone selling crabs and bought some crabs. She walked back with her things, checking in with acquaintances from time to time. "Hey, you bought so many things, are there guests at home? My daughter is back from vacation." When she came downstairs to the family building and saw the black Audi A8, Mother Jiao shook her head inwardly. The license plate is GA, and it looks like the car is rented. When my daughter finds that boyfriend, everything else is fine, but he's a little too particular about face. It's high-end tobacco, alcohol, supplements, and renting a car. How much money is wasted? Although Li Jie heard that he made money by writing books and opened a small company, Jiao's mother didn't think he was very rich. After all, he was just in his first year of college and had only been able to start a business for a year. How much money could a small company make? It was only because her daughter had eyes for him that she thought he was special. However, this is fine. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 285. Mother Chiao also doesn't want her daughter to find someone who is particularly wealthy. The economic strength is too unequal, which may not be a good thing. That's good. It's enough to have a certain financial strength and be able to protect the lives of two people. Going upstairs and returning home, Mother Chiao found Xiao Chiao and Li Jie still sitting on the sofa and nodded in her heart. Xiao Chiao, are you a little hot? She noticed that her daughter's face was a little red and there was a little sweat on her nose and forehead. It's a little hot, Xiao Chiao exhaled and said. Then you won't turn up the air conditioner. Xiao Chiao picked up the air conditioner remote control and pretended to press it twice. The air conditioner is 26 degrees Celsius, and it will be a bit cold if it is adjusted downward. Xiao Jie, I'm going to cook. If you feel bored, just turn on the TV and watch it for a while. After Mother Chiao finished speaking, she said to her daughter, Xiao Chiao, come and help in the kitchen. She was going to ask her daughter about Li Jie again. Oh, Xiao Chiao stood up. Li Jie also stood up and said, Auntie, let me help you too. No, 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 you are a guest, how can I let you do anything? Mother Chiao waved her hand. Auntie, just like Xiao Chiao said, you don't have to treat me as a guest. Besides, you are an elder, how can I watch you busy while I rest here? Li Jie said with a smile. Xiao Chiao also said, Mom, just let him help. His cooking is delicious. Xiao Jie, can you cook? Mother Chiao was a little surprised. Nowadays, very few young people know how to cook. Even if others don't tell her, her daughter can't even cook noodles well. I can cook some home-cooked dishes, Li Jie said modestly. Mom, don't listen to his modesty. He can cook more than you, Xiao Chiao said with a smile. After hearing this, Mother Chiao glanced at Li Jie. She had good character, good looks, ability, and could cook. This boy was indeed rare. However, she suddenly thought of something and her face changed slightly. Xiao Chiao, Xiao Jie often cooks for you. It's not very often, but, I've cooked for me a few times. Xiao Chiao almost let it slip, but luckily he reacted in time. Mother Chiao's heart skipped a beat. Although Xiao Chiao changed her mind in time, she still heard something. The two men were probably living together. She suddenly didn't like Li Jie so much anymore. Mother Chiao had also heard that many college students would live together when they fell in love, but she really didn't expect that Xiao Chiao would do the same. What is the difference between living together and then breaking up, and a second marriage? Auntie, let me take your things to the kitchen for you. Seeing that Xiao Chiao had spilled the beans, Li Jie changed the subject. The three of them came to the kitchen together and started working. Seeing Li Jie handling the live fish skillfully, Mother Chiao was immediately sure that he really knew how to cook. After Xiao Chiao washed the dishes for a while, she was kicked out by Chiao's mother. The kitchen was not big, so she couldn't help here and was in the way. Mother Chiao glanced at the living room and said with a sigh, Xiao Chiao, this child is so old and can't even cook. I really don't know what I will do when I get married. Li Jie smiled and said, it's okay if she doesn't know how to cook. I never thought about letting her cook. How can that be okay? You two are together. You can't be allowed to cook alone. You have to be busy with work. You can hire a nanny. Hire a nanny? What a waste of money. It seems I have to find time to teach her properly. Li Jie smiled and did not argue with Mother Chiao about this issue. Mother Chiao glanced at Li Jie and asked tentatively, Xiao Jie, have you ever thought about when to get married? Auntie, I actually want to get married early, but Xiao Chiao and I are both underage now, and the law doesn't allow it. But I want to get the certificate with Xiao Chiao as soon as I reach the age. I wonder if you and uncle support it, Li Jie said. After hearing what Li Jie said, Mother Chiao nodded in her heart. The two of them are living together, and if possible, she still hopes that they can make it to the end. Of course, if the man's character is really bad, she will definitely let her daughter break up with him immediately. Now it seems that her daughter has found this boyfriend. He is a nice guy and has a good attitude. She has passed the test in her heart. Li Jia and Qiao's mother worked together for more than 40 minutes. When it was almost 10 o'clock, the meal was almost ready. At this time, there was a sound of opening the door in the living room, and a middle-aged man opened the door and walked in. Xiao Qiao, who was sitting on the sofa watching TV, smiled and said, "Dad, you are back." Father Qiao said and glanced at his daughter, his expression not very good. He learned from his wife that his daughter brought her boyfriend home and didn't even bother to attend classes. She asked for leave and came back. "Uncle, we meet again." Li Jia came out of the kitchen and greeted Father Qiao with a respectful attitude. Father Qiao looked at Li Jia carefully with a straight face, and knew that it was this man-like boy in front of him who had deceived his precious daughter. "What, have we met before? Why doesn't he remember seeing this kid?" "Uncle, don't you remember? We met on the school bus last year when we were welcoming new students. At that time, I was sitting across from you and Xiao Qiao." When Father Qiao heard this, he frowned and thought for a while, then he remembered. At that time, a boy took the initiative to talk to his daughter, but he couldn't remember what he looked like. His impression of Li Jia was even worse. This kid really had bad intentions. He was obsessed with his daughter the first time he saw her. After that, he probably used many tricks to deceive his daughter. Mother Qiao also came out of the kitchen, and said to Father Qiao with a smile, "You came back just in time, the food is ready, ready to eat." Li Jia, Xiao Qiao and Mother Qiao brought all the dishes to the table. Xiao Qiao picked up a bottle of Maotai and said to Father Qiao with a smile, "Dad, I know you like to drink 2 glasses of wine. Li Jia bought this wine specially for you." Father Qiao glanced at the Maotai in his daughter's hand and said, "This wine is too expensive and I can't drink it. I'd better drink my second drink." Xiao Qiao couldn't help but laugh when she heard this. Her father always worried about it and wanted to buy a bottle of Maotai to try, but he was reluctant to buy it because it was too expensive. Now that Maotai is really available, he is angry and refuses to drink it. "Li Jia, help me open the wine." Li Jia opened the Maotai, and Qiao's father also took out a bottle from the cabinet and drank half of Niaulanshan Erkuatu. "Can I drink?" Father Qiao put the wine on the table and glanced at Li Jia. "You can drink a little," Li Jia said with a smile. "Dad, don't let him drink too much. He can't drink enough," Xiao Qiao said quickly after hearing this. Father Qiao glanced at his daughter, feeling even more uncomfortable. Now that he was with her, his little cotton-padded jacket faced outsiders. He snorted coldly, "How can a man do it if he can't even drink a little wine? How about you come with me and have 2 drinks? Li Jia stopped Xiao Qiao, who was about to speak again, nodded and said, "Okay, I'll have 2 drinks with my uncle. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn." Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 286. Father Qiao, Mother Qiao, Xiao Qiao and Li Jia sat down around the dining table. Father Qiao placed 2 glasses, picked up Niaulanshan Erkuatu and was about to pour wine. Li Jia said quickly, "Uncle, I'll do it." Father Qiao glanced at him and nodded, "Okay, then you can do it." Li Jia picked up Maotai, poured 2 glasses of wine, picked up a glass of wine with both hands, and placed it respectfully in front of Father Qiao. Then he picked up another glass of wine with both hands and said to Father Qiao, "Uncle, let me toast you." After saying that, he drank the wine in one gulp. Seeing that Li Jia's attitude was quite good, Qiao's father became a little more angry, but only a little. He also picked up the wine and drank. However, Father Qiao did not drink it all in one gulp like Li Jia did, but drank it slowly. "No wonder this wine is so expensive, it is indeed much better than Erkuatu." Thinking this in his heart, he said, "I heard that you started a business right after you entered college." "Yes, I opened a small company." Since you have started a business, you should understand that making money is not easy, so don't buy these high-end tobacco and alcohol just to save your face. Our family doesn't like this. Dad, Xiao Jiao couldn't help but want to say something. Li Jie stopped her, then smiled and said to Father Jiao, "Uncle, you are right. Uncle, come, let me toast you again." After finishing another glass of wine, Father Jiao sipped the wine and put down the glass. Seeing Li Jie drink it all in one gulp, he couldn't help but said, "You don't drink wine often. If you drink like this, no matter how good the wine is, it will be wasted. Yes, wine is for tasting." Li Jie smiled and said, "Uncle, I haven't really drunk much, so I don't understand. It's up to you, I'll enjoy this cup." After saying that, he filled the glass again. "How do you feel?" Father Jiao asked when Li Jie put down his wine glass. "It really tastes good when you drink it," Li Jie nodded and said. When Father Jiao heard this, he looked satisfied. Mother Jiao smiled and added, "You two don't just drink, you also have some food. Xiao Jie, this crab is quite fresh, you can try it." With that said, she brought a crab to Li Jie. "Thank you, Auntie." Li Jie took the crab and began to peel the crab shell. After peeling out the crab meat, he noticed Xiao Jiao looking at him, and put the crab meat into her bowl with a smile. "You go ahead and eat it." Xiao Jiao smiled and glanced at Li Jie, "Eat the crab meat happily." And Li Jie took another crab and started peeling the shell. This scene fell into the eyes of Father Jiao and Mother Jiao. Father Jiao felt a little unhappy, but Mother Jiao was quite pleased. She could see that Li Jie should always dote on Xiao Jiao and was not just showing off in front of them. After Xiao Jiao finished eating the crab meat, she also peeled a large shrimp for Li Jie. She smiled and put the shrimp into his bowl. "You can eat a shrimp too." Li Jie smiled and put the peeled crab into her bowl again. Father Jiao felt even more unhappy when he saw it. His daughter was peeling shrimps for the boy, but she didn't know that she was also peeling one for her father. Noticing the look on Jiao's father's face, Li Jie reminded Xiao Jiao, "Xiao Jiao, peel one for uncle too." When Xiao Jiao heard this, he realized what he was doing. He quickly peeled off another big shrimp, put it in Father Jiao's bowl, and said with a smile, "Dad, you can eat shrimp too." The daughter had eaten the shrimp she peeled, but Father Jiao was not happy at all. He wanted to eat a shrimp peeled by his daughter, but he actually wanted that brat to say something. Father Jiao picked up the wine, filled the glass again, and then said to Li Jie, "Come on, let's continue drinking." One glass after another, and soon most of the bottle of Maotai was gone. Li Jie's face turned red, he was drunk and a little dizzy. Seeing that Jiao's father wanted to pour more wine, Xiao Jiao couldn't stand it anymore and couldn't help but stop him and said, "Dad, that's it. Don't let him drink anymore. He really can't drink well." Li Jie smiled and winked at Xiao Jiao, "It's okay, I can still have some drinks with my uncle." After saying that, he took the initiative to pick up the wine and poured 2 more glasses of wine. Then, he picked up his glass of wine and drank it first. Li Jie also knew that Father Jiao didn't like him and was deliberately trying to get him drunk. But what can be done? If the father-in-law makes things difficult for his son-in-law, he has no choice but to live with it. To be honest, Father Jiao and Mother Jiao's attitude is just fine. Mother Jiao almost regarded him as a prospective son-in-law. Although Father Jiao's attitude is a bit bad, it is understandable. Any father would feel very uncomfortable when he finds out that a brat suddenly appears and wants to take away the good cabbage he has been raising for more than 20 years. Besides, you can't feel great just because you don't have a little money, and you can't bear the slightest grievance. You have slept with other people's daughters, so you should be treated with some shame. Whether it is Xiao Jiao, Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi, Li Jie really regards them as girlfriends in his heart, and does not just want to play. Therefore, their parents are also his elders and should be respected. After drinking a few more drinks, Li Jie felt that he couldn't hold on any longer and said to Father Jiao and Mother Jiao, "Uncle, Auntie, I'm going to the bathroom." He got up and went to the bathroom. He washed his face first to wake up, then took out 2 hangover pills and took them. Li Jie had guessed before he came that he might be drunk by his father-in-law, so he was already prepared. In the living room, when Li Jie went to the bathroom, Xiao Jiao said to Jiao's father a little dissatisfied, "Dad, why are you like this?" "What's wrong with me?" Father Jiao glanced at his daughter angrily. "He wants to cheat my daughter away, and I can't make him drink more than a few glasses of wine. I haven't talked about you yet. You don't even tell your family about the person you're dating, and you just show them to your door. Do you still have me as your father and your mother in your heart? You won't let me fall in love, how dare I tell you?" After saying that, Xiao Jiao muttered again, "If it weren't for Li Jie, I wouldn't want to tell you." Father Jiao became even more angry when he heard this. "I don't let you fall in love too early because I don't want you to be deceived. There are a few relationships in college that have results. Old-fashioned, it's the same thing again. There are a few people in the university who don't fall in love, forget it, if it doesn't make sense to you, I won't tell you any more," Xiao Jiao said a little impatiently. Father Jiao felt choked by his daughter. He felt that his daughter was quite obedient before, but why did she become rebellious after 1 year of college? He must have learned bad things from that boy Li Jie. The scumbag who innocently took the blame. No, it was Li Jie who couldn't help but sneeze in the bathroom. Okay, you two, father and daughter, please stop arguing," Mother Jiao said to smooth things over. Then, she said to Jiao's father, "Sooner or later, Xiao Jiao will find a partner. I think Li Jie is pretty good." Xiao Jiao smiled and said to Mother Jiao, "Mom, you also think Li Jie is good, right? The person I like is the same." "What's not bad, is it good?" Father Jiao said a little angrily. "That kid is just good at pretending and pretending to be honest." Although Li Jie treated him with great respect and acted so that Father Jiao could find no fault with him, he just felt that this boy was dishonest. When Li Jie returned to the living room, he found that Father Jiao looked at him even more unkindly. "We're back, let's continue drinking." Father Jiao picked up the wine again. Soon, a 500 ml bottle of 53% mutai was finished. Father Jiao opened another half bottle of 52° Niolanchen Urquatu, and then poured the wine. Li Jie really sacrificed his life to accompany his father-in-law today. He had never drunk so much wine before. Fortunately, Father Jiao's drinking capacity was average. After finishing another half of the bottle of Urquatu, he didn't say anything about opening another drink. With the help of hangover medicine, Li Jie managed to survive. "Your drinking capacity is not bad," Father Jiao glanced at Li Jie, a little surprised. Li Jie smiled and said, "Uncle, you still have some room to spare. I've reached my limit and can't compare with you." Listening to what Li Jie said, Jiao's father was still very useful, and he was a little more pleasing to the eye. Before the meal was finished, Li Jie was already drunk and couldn't hold on any longer. "Uncle, Aunt, I've finished eating. You guys eat slowly." He stood up and wanted to sit on the sofa for a while, but as soon as he took a step, he swayed. When Xiao Jiao saw him, he quickly helped him up and said, "Hubby, slow down." She was so anxious that she called her husband out. When Father Jiao and Mother Jiao heard this, they couldn't help but be stunned. Xiao Jiao didn't realize that she had spilled the beans. She helped Li Jie walk to the sofa. "Mom, Dad, I won't eat either." Mother Jiao glanced at her daughter who was supporting Li Jie, and then said softly to Father Jiao, "It seems that our daughter's heart has gone to other people." Father Jiao remained silent. After drinking, he won, but also lost. "I lost miserably with my daughter." Mother Jiao continued, "I think this Mr. Li is pretty good, what do you think?" Father Jiao sighed softly, The performance is indeed pretty good, but this kid is not simple. If our daughter is with him, he will definitely be eaten to death. Mother Chiao nodded after hearing this, and she agreed with this. Li Zhe's performance was a bit too mature, not at all like a student who had just finished his freshman year. It's no wonder that he was able to start a business and start a company while studying. After Li Zhe was helped to the sofa by Xiao Jiao, he became more and more drunk. He was completely drunk and fell asleep in a daze. Father Chiao and Mother Chiao also finished eating quickly. The two came to the sofa and took a look, and found that Li Zhe was really drunk. Mother Chiao said to Father Chiao, "You are the same. You really got me drunk." "I didn't know that his ability to drink was so bad," Father Chiao argued. Xiao Jiao looked away from Li Zhe and said to Father Chiao, "Dad, Li Zhe's performance is really good. This is the first time I have seen him drink so much. Why, do I still want to thank him for giving me face?" Although he said this, Father Chiao's impression of Li Zhe became a little better. After all, wine reflects character. Mother Chiao said to Father Chiao, "Don't let him sleep here, help him into the house." "I still have to serve him," Father Chiao complained. "Who asked you to get someone drunk?" Mother Chiao said. "This kid is quite heavy." Father Chiao helped Li Zhe up from the sofa with great effort. Anyone with experience knows that a person who is completely drunk is dead. Chiao's father is only about 1.7 centimeters tall, and his body is not as strong as Li Zhe's. It is quite difficult for one person to support him. Xiao Jiao quickly offered his hand and supported Li Zhe on the other side. "Where should I send him?" Father Chiao asked. "Send me to that house," Xiao Jiao said without hesitation. "No," Father Chiao said immediately. He was so able to send this kid to his daughter's room. Mother Chiao thought for a while and said, "Send it to Xiaojin's room." Chiao's father, Xiao Jiao, and his daughter supported Li Zhe, and Chiao's mother followed behind and sent Li Zhe to Xiao Jiao's brother Xiaojin's room. This room is separated. The room is very small, only about 4 square meters. After putting Li Zhe on the single bed, Father Chiao and Mother Chiao were about to go out, but Xiao Jiao sat down beside the bed. "Mom, Dad, I'll stay with him for a while." Mother Chiao glanced at her daughter and said seriously, "Xiao Jiao, come out, I have something to ask you." "Oh," Xiao Jiao reluctantly responded. She knew she was going to be questioned. The family of 3 returned to the living room and sat down on the sofa. Mother Chiao stared at her daughter and asked the first question, which almost made Father Chiao explode. "Xiao Jiao, are you living with Li Zhe?" "You're living with that kid?" Father Chiao couldn't help being shocked and angry. Seeing Chiao's father and Mother Chiao staring at her closely, Chiao became timid. No, it was Xiao Jiao who suddenly became timid. She whispered, "No. Tell me the truth." Mother Chiao's voice was a bit harsh. She knew at a glance that her daughter was not telling the truth. Yes, seeing that he could no longer hide it, Xiao Jiao could only tell the truth. "Then you two had a relationship?" Mother Chiao asked immediately. Xiao Jiao glanced at Father Chiao and Mother Chiao, and gave a hesitant hum. They all admitted that they were living together, and since nothing happened with Li Zhe, they probably wouldn't believe it, so she simply admitted it. Xiao Jiao said yes very softly, but Father Chiao's head buzzed. "My daughter was actually hummed by that boy Li Zhe." "You kid, why are you so, ugh?" Mother Chiao's expression was also very complicated. She wanted to say something to her daughter. "But I thought it was too late to say anything now, so I just sighed softly in the end." "Mom, Dad, I recognize Li Zhe," Xiao Jiao said firmly. She made her stance clear. Mother Chiao couldn't help but said, "Xiao Jiao, even if you identify with Li Zhe and want to marry him, you can't marry him so early, you are only a freshman." "Mom, Li Zhe and I are making progress a little faster, but it will only happen sooner or later. It will take us 2 or 3 years to reach age." I can't let Li Jie wait for 2 or 3 years, right? Even if Li Jie is willing to wait, I am not willing yet. But Xiao Qiao said this in his heart. When Mother Qiao heard this, she realized that her daughter's words did make sense. She also knows that the current concept is no longer what it used to be. Besides, even in their era, there were still unmarried cohabitations, but they were relatively rare. But she still felt that the two of them were progressing too fast, so they had to talk for more than a year and wait until their relationship stabilized. Father Qiao suddenly said, "Xiao Qiao, didn't that boy Li Jie trick you?" His tone was very unkind. No, Xiao Qiao shook his head. She knew that Li Jie couldn't take the blame for this matter. I took the initiative. When Father Qiao heard this, he didn't know what to say. Mother Qiao said, "Okay, don't talk about this. Xiao Qiao, tell me more about Li Jie in detail." Xiao Qiao nodded, told her Mother Qiao what she could about Li Jie, and praised him in various ways. As for Li Jie's cheating, we definitely can't say that he is in two different situations. She couldn't help but feel a little aggrieved. This guy Li Jie was hugging him, but she had to tolerate him, help him hide it, and even say nice things to him. After listening to this, Mother Qiao nodded and said, "Xiao Qiao, since you have identified Li Jie, your father, and I." Speaking of this, she glanced at Father Qiao. Hearing what his wife said, Father Qiao subconsciously wanted to say something, but in the end he didn't say anything. What else can be done? You can't force your daughter to break up with that guy. Besides, that guy's character, appearance, education, and financial conditions are all really good. Therefore, although he looked a little displeased with Li Jie, he could only admit it by pinching his nose. At most, I'll find opportunities to irritate that kid a few more times in the future, just to vent my anger. Seeing that her husband had no objection, Mother Qiao continued, "Your father and I also respect your choice. From now on, you and Li Jie will get along well. After graduation, you two will get married and have a child as soon as possible, so that we can rest assured." When he heard that Father Qiao and Mother Qiao agreed, Xiao Qiao was so happy. "Dad, Mom, thank you. Li Jie and I will definitely be filial to you from now on." Mother Qiao smiled and said, "It doesn't matter whether you are filial or not, as long as you two can live a good life in the future." Xiao Qiao glanced at Father Qiao, who seemed a little sulky. He smiled and took his arm and said coquettishly, "Dad, don't be upset. Li Jie is very good. With him as your son-in-law, you will not be short of mutai in the future drink." Father Qiao smiled helplessly, "Do you think I covet his 2 bottles of mutai? As long as you can live well, it doesn't matter to you or me even if we can't drink mutai in our lives." Xiao Qiao smiled and said, "Dad, there are not 2 bottles. There is another box in the car downstairs. You drink it first, and I will ask Li Jie to buy it for you after you finish it." "What did you say?" Father Qiao was shocked when he heard this. "A box of mutai?" "Yes, a box of mutai. That boy Li Jie, couldn't he buy a fake bar?" Xiao Qiao said, "Funny, Dad, how could it be fake wine if you bought it from a specialty store? Besides, can't you tell the difference between real and fake wine after drinking it? This is also my first time drinking mutai. How do I know what real wine tastes like?" After finishing speaking, Father Qiao added, "A box of mutai costs tens of thousands, right? And this wine is not easy to buy." Xiao Qiao nodded, "It's not easy to buy. Li Jie went to several places for this box of wine." As she said this, she thought of something. "By the way, there are a lot of things in the car, let's go get them together." The family of 3 went downstairs together and came to the Audi A8. Xiao Qiao took out the car keys and opened the trunk. There are boxes of Maotai and Zonghua, various supplements, various clothes and shoes, as well as digital products such as laptops and mobile phones, etc. Looking at the pile of things in the trunk, Father Chiao and Mother Chiao were shocked. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 287. Li Zhe bought all these things. Mother Chiao was stunned for a few seconds before she recovered. Yeah, Xiao Chiao hummed. Then how much did he spend? Father Chiao's voice was a little serious. Only a few 100,000, Xiao Chiao thought for a moment and said. Just a few 100,000? When Father Chiao and Mother Chiao heard this, they didn't know what to say. This was hundreds of thousands. Why did their daughter say it so easily? When Xiao Chiao and Li Zhe were together, they were very discerning. A house and a car cost 3 to 4 million, and some clothes cost tens of thousands, so she really didn't realize that hundreds of thousands was a big number. But in the eyes of ordinary working-class people, a few 100,000 is enough to buy a small square-meter house in the county. Dad, Mom, let's move things, Xiao Chiao said. What are you moving? Father Chiao glanced at his daughter. You explain everything to me first. How could he just accept hundreds of thousands of things from the man in such a stupid way? The family of three went upstairs again and returned to the house. Sitting down on the sofa, Father Chiao stared at his daughter and asked, didn't Li Zhe say that he opened a small company as soon as he started his business? Where did he get the money to buy so many things? Xiao Chiao smiled and said, Dad, Li Zhe is so humble. You really believe it? He started his business not long ago, but his company has grown rapidly and now has 400 to 500 people. It is not considered a small company. 400 or 500 people. Father Chiao couldn't hide his surprise. He really didn't expect that the young man drinking with him could manage 400 to 500 people. He thought that the boy just opened a handbag company with only 1 or 2 people. What does his company do? Father Chiao suppressed his surprise and asked. Making games is an online game. Xiao Chiao thought for a while and added, in addition, he also has an entertainment company and a novel website, but these two companies are newly established and do not make money. More than one company? Father Chiao and Mother Chiao became more and more shocked as they listened. Mother Chiao couldn't help but ask, then do you know how much money Li Zhe has now? I'm not so sure either. Xiao Chiao paused and said, however, he should have assets worth hundreds of millions. The person who knows the most about Li Zhe's net worth is Zhou Ziyu, his lover, but Xiao Chiao, his real girlfriend, only knows a rough idea. Hundreds of millions. Father Chiao and Mother Chiao looked at each other with shock in their eyes. They thought their daughter was bringing back a student who had just started a business, a small business owner, but they didn't know that the other person was a billionaire. However, why does this feel a bit unrealistic? Mother Chiao didn't believe it and said doubtfully, Xiao Chiao, didn't Li Zhe start his business less than a year ago and he has hundreds of millions of assets so quickly? Does she think her daughter has been cheated? I also think he makes money a little too fast, Xiao Chiao sighed. What kind of online game can you make money like this? Father Chiao thought about it and was a little skeptical. Seeing that neither Father Chiao nor Mother Chiao believed it, Xiao Chiao couldn't help but said, Dad, Mom, what I said is true. Li Zhe has at least hundreds of millions of assets. The house and car he gave me, there are 3 to 4 million cars. Xiao Chiao's voice became smaller and smaller as he spoke. She suddenly realized that she shouldn't tell her parents about the house and car. Li Zhe gave his daughter a house and a car, worth 3 or 4 million. Father Chiao and Mother Chiao were stunned when they heard this. They were even more shocked when they heard this than when they heard that Li Zhe was a billionaire. Xiao Chiao, Li Zhe gave you a house and a car. Father Chiao's tone was extremely serious. Worth 3 or 4 million. Which house and what car? The house is in Shanghai, and the car is a Porsche 911. You accepted it? Received. Xiao Jiao finished speaking in a low voice and then defended. Li Jie insisted on giving it to me. Nonsense, Father Jiao shouted loudly. How dare you accept such an expensive thing from someone else? He really didn't expect his daughter to be so bold. She had just been with him for a few months and would dare to take away a house and car worth 3 to 4 million yuan. Jiao was cowardly. No, it was Xiao Jiao who was so frightened by Jiao's father that he shrank his neck. What are you doing? Don't scare my daughter, Mother Jiao quickly said to Father Jiao when she saw it. She also felt that it was not good for her daughter to accept a house and car worth 3 to 4 million yuan not long after she got together with Li Jie. But this at least proves that Li Jie is sincere to his daughter and is willing to provide her with protection. Her impression of Li Jie couldn't help but become better. Father Jiao sighed deeply. This Li Jie is too rich and capable. This may not be a good thing. How many rich and capable men are careless? Can my daughter and each other really last forever? Mother Jiao glanced at her husband and understood his concerns. They are just ordinary families, and the economic conditions of the two parties are very different. She was also a little worried about this. But what else can we do? Our daughter has taken over someone else's house and car. Besides, she didn't say anything else. But Father Jiao understood what his wife meant. Besides, both of them are already living together. The couple looked at each other with mixed emotions. They never thought that their daughter might marry into a wealthy family one day. Xiao Jiao also noticed the concerns of Father Jiao and Mother Jiao, and said with a smile, Mom, Dad, don't worry. I have a good relationship with Li Jie, and he loves me very much. Besides, when Li Jie and I were together, he didn't have so much money, and I didn't expect him to be so rich. Li Jie's love for Xiao Jiao was obvious to both his father and mother. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given her a house and car worth 3 to 4 million. Even though he is a billionaire, he will not humble himself in front of them. Mother Jiao glanced at her daughter and said, Xiao Jiao, tell us about Li Jie again. Xiao Jiao nodded and told about Li Jie again. This time she mainly talked about his business startup. Hearing that Li Jie writes novels online, he can earn 100,000 a month in less than 2 or 3 months, and then start a company, and produce a popular web game in just a few months. Father Jiao and Mother Jiao heard this. I was stunned for a moment, as if I was listening to celebrity entrepreneurial stories. After hearing what his daughter said, Father Jiao sighed and said, this Li Jie is so extraordinary. There will definitely be greater development in the future. But he became more and more worried. With such a man, could his daughter be able to protect him? Although Mother Jiao was also worried, she was more happy that her daughter had found a good son-in-law. Li Jie was really drunk this time. He fell asleep at about 11 o'clock at noon and didn't wake up until about 5 o'clock in the evening. After waking up, he felt a little headache and a little groggy, so he subconsciously rubbed his head. After feeling a little better, Li Jie looked around and found that this was a very small room, only 4 to 5 square meters in size. There are a lot of boys' things in the room, which is a bit messy. He immediately guessed that this was the room of Xiao Jiao's brother Xiao Jin. Li Jie got up and left the room, came to the living room, and saw Xiao Jiao sitting on the sofa, hugging his legs and watching TV. She only wore a white t-shirt and a pair of shorts, revealing her fair, slender legs and tender white feet. Seeing Li Jie coming out of the room, Xiao Jiao smiled and said, "Are you awake?" Li Jie smiled at her, came to the sofa and sat down next to her. Mother Jiao popped her head out when she heard the noise in the kitchen and said with a smile, "Xiao Jie, you're awake. I drank so much wine at noon. It must be a little uncomfortable to wake up, right? I made a hangover soup. You can drink some." After Mother Jiao finished speaking, she quickly walked out of the kitchen with a bowl of hangover soup. Li Jie quickly stood up and took the sobering soup from Mother Jiao's hand. "Thank you, Auntie. We are all one family, why are you so polite?" Mother Jiao said with a smile. Li Jie glanced at Jiao's mother and felt that his mother-in-law seemed to be more enthusiastic when she woke up. The hangover soup is kelp soup, which also contains winter melon, tofu, and beef mince. It tastes good. As soon as Li Jie finished the soup and sent the bowl to the kitchen, Father Jiao came out of the master bedroom and said to him, "Xiao Jie, let's have a chat." Okay, Li Jie nodded. He noticed that Father Jiao's attitude towards him had also changed, becoming more relaxed and a little more polite. It seems that while he was sleeping, Xiao Jiao was interrogated and confessed everything. Li Jie and Jiao's father went to the bedroom together. When he came to the bedroom, Father Jiao pulled up a chair for Li Jie to sit down, and then he also sat down beside the bed. "I heard from Xiao Jiao that you gave her an apartment and a car. Isn't that too expensive?" Li Jie listened and smiled. "Uncle, Xiao Jiao should have told you and Aunt about my matter. You and Aunt must also have concerns, fearing that I will let Xiao Jiao down. I really like Xiao Jiao, but I can't prove it, so I gave Xiao Jiao a house and a car. This is my guarantee for her, and also for you and your aunt." Father Jiao nodded after hearing this, and then said, "Your aunt and I do have concerns about you too. Our family is just an ordinary family, and Xiao Jiao is just an ordinary girl. To be honest, she is a bit unworthy of you. You are so outstanding." "Uncle, don't say that," Li Jie interrupted Father Jiao with a smile. "In my heart, Xiao Jiao is not ordinary, she is a very special girl. And I don't think I am that good. But I'm afraid Xiao Jiao won't be able to help you with your career in the future. Uncle, I don't want to find a girlfriend who will help me in my career. I'm tired enough from working in the company during the day. I don't want to go home and talk about work with my girlfriend. What I like is Xiao Jiao's pure and simple character. If she were really a very ambitious girl, I wouldn't like her anymore." After listening to what Li Jie said, Father Jiao probably understood what he was thinking and was quite satisfied with his statement. At least the other party's attitude is sincere and he really likes his daughter, not just for fun. As for whether the two can make it to the end, it depends on how they get along in the future. Let's do this. I'll let Xiao Jiao take the house and car first. If you really break up in the future, I'll ask her to return everything to you." Li Jie shook his head. "Uncle, I told you that the house and car are my guarantee for Xiao Jiao. Now that I have given them away, I have never thought about taking them back. In my heart, Xiao Jiao is more important than anything else. If everyone is lost, what do I need this little thing for?" Li Jie and Jiao's father chatted for more than 30 minutes before they came out of the house together. "What did my dad talk to you about?" Xiao Jiao asked in a worried voice. Li Jie smiled at her and said, "Don't worry, it's all done. Come on, let's go get the things in the car." Li Jie, Xiao Jiao, Jiao's father and Jiao's mother came downstairs to move things together. Looking at the pile of things in the trunk of the Audi A8, Father Jiao said in an admonishing tone, "Xiao Jie, I know you are rich, but there is no need to buy so many things." Mother Jiao also said, "Yes, my family really doesn't need to do this. It's such a waste of money. Uncle, Auntie, I came to the club to buy so many things, but actually I came to place a gift order." Having said this, Li Jie glanced at Xiao Jiao with a smile and said, "I want to get engaged to Xiao Jiao first, but I don't know if you agree or not." Father Jiao and Mother Jiao were stunned for a moment when they heard this. Father Jiao looked a little hesitant, but Mother Jiao's face immediately showed joy. She smiled and said, "Xiao Jie, you have to ask Xiao Jiao first about this. We respect her opinion." After hearing this, Li Jie turned to look at Xiao Jiao with a smile. "Jiao Bao, are you willing to get engaged to me?" Xiao Jiao's eyes were full of surprise and excitement. Li Jie suddenly proposed an engagement, which really gave her a huge surprise. She looked at him and nodded vigorously, I do. Engaged to Ligia, she is his fiancée. That Josio still wants to rise to the top. Let her dream. There were so many things that it took 4 people 3 or 4 times to move them together. When moving things, when she met familiar neighbors and friends and asked, Mother Chiao smiled and said that her daughter had brought her boyfriend back, and the things were all bought by her future son-in-law. Her words were full of pride. When they saw Ligia, who was well-groomed and distinguished in temperament, his neighbors and friends also praised him greatly. Soon, the news that the daughter of Lao Xiao's family brought back a handsome and wealthy boyfriend and bought a lot of things spread in the family building of the school. After moving things, I returned home and started busy distributing gifts. Dad, Ligia bought these 2 boxes of cigarettes and alcohol for you. Father Chiao looked at the boxes of Mao Tai and Zonghua, and couldn't help feeling that it would be nice to have a rich son-in-law. Mom, Ligia bought this set of gold jewelry for you. After distributing tobacco, alcohol, and gold jewelry, Xiao Chiao went on to distribute clothes, shoes, and digital products. While they were dividing things, a boy of 15 or 16 years old, carrying a school bag on one shoulder, took the key and opened the door and walked in. The boy is about 1.76 centimeters tall and looks similar to Father Chiao. His nose and eyes are very similar. He is not handsome, but he is quite energetic and good-looking. Seeing a lot of things in the living room, the boy was stunned for a moment. His eyes fell on Xiao Chiao first, and then on Ligia. Sister, you're back. Is there a visitor at home? Xiao Chiao glanced at Ligia, then smiled and said to the boy, Xiao Jin, your brother-in-law is here, call him quickly. Sister, you have a boyfriend, Xiao Jin was a little surprised. He glanced at Ligia, hesitated, and called him brother-in-law. Ligia looked at Xiaojin and said with a smile, Hello Xiaojin, I am your sister's boyfriend. My name is Ligia. For this brother-in-law, Ligia originally thought he should be quite handsome. After all, he has a beautiful sister named Xiao Chiao, whose name is Jin. As the saying goes, Huai Jin holds you, Jin, and you refer to beautiful jade. As a result, I was disappointed. In fact, not only brother Chiao, but also father Chiao and mother Chiao are all average-looking and not good-looking. I don't know who inherited Xiao Chiao's beauty and cuteness from her. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 288. Xiao Chiao smiled and said to his younger brother, Xiao Jin, you came back just in time, and I have your gift. Don't you like digital products? Your brother-in-law bought you a lot of them. Really? Xiaojin said in surprise. Then he smiled and said to Ligia, thank you, brother-in-law. This brother-in-law's call was much more sincere than before. This is the electronic dictionary your brother-in-law bought for you. Xiao Chiao picked up a BBK electronic dictionary. Sister, I have an electronic dictionary, Xiao Jin said. He glanced at the several laptops and mobile phones placed on the table. This electronic dictionary is better and has more functions, Xiao Chiao said with a smile. Xiaojin nodded and reached out to take the electronic dictionary. This is a Walkman and a repeater. You can use it to listen to English. I also bought a listening tape for you. Xiao Chiao smiled again and picked up a BBK Walkman and a repeater. Xiaojin took it again. This is MP4, which is better than your MP3. When you are tired from studying, you can listen to music to relax. These are the real college entrance examination questions from previous years. They are included in every subject. You can try them first after the holidays. Seeing Xiao Chiao taking out all the college entrance examination papers, Xiao Jin finally couldn't bear it anymore. What he wants is a mobile phone and a laptop, not an electronic dictionary, repeater, and college entrance examination papers. Sister, my brother-in-law also bought these college entrance examination papers for me. No, I bought it specially for you. Do I treat you well? Xiao Jiao smiled slyly. Xiaojin. You're so good to me. Sister, do those laptops and mobile phones belong to me? Xiao Jin said in a flattering manner with a smile. Do you want a laptop and a mobile phone? Xiao Jiao seemed to have just come to his senses. No. She said seriously, you are about to enter your second year of high school. You are in a critical period. You should focus more on your studies and don't always think about playing with your mobile phone or computer. Do you understand? Xiao Jin's lips twitched when she heard this. How dare his sister have the nerve to teach him a lesson? When she was in high school, she was more lazy than him and didn't like to study. Seeing Xiao Jiao teasing his younger brother, Li Jie couldn't help but chuckle. The president is so eccentric. Okay, stop teasing Xiaojin and give him your computer and mobile phone. You really have my computer and mobile phone. Xiao Jin was immediately happy when she heard this. Xiao Jiao glanced at Li Jie angrily, blaming him for ruining her fun. This computer is for you, and this mobile phone. She got a computer and a mobile phone for her brother. After Xiaojin took the computer and mobile phone, she quickly opened them and looked at them. She was very happy when she found that the computer cost at least 7,000 to 8,000 yuan and the mobile phone cost 3,000 to 4,000 yuan. They were all high-end products. He wanted to buy a low-end desktop computer costing 3,000 to 4,000 yuan before, but Jiao's father refused to let him do it, but now he has such a high-end laptop computer. Thank you, brother-in-law, you are so kind. Xiaojin suddenly heard that her sister had a boyfriend, and she was a little unhappy, but now she feels that it is great to have such a brother-in-law. Mother Jiao glanced at her son, then said to Li Jie with a smile, Xiao Jie, you don't need to buy Xiaojin such a computer and mobile phone, he is still young and can't use it. Why can't you use it? Xiao Jin said quickly after hearing this. The computer I can use to study. Studying? Playing games is enough, Father Jiao said angrily. Xiaojin, let me tell you, even if you have a computer, you can't play too much. You have to focus more on studying. His two daughters, each one less interested in studying than the other. Under his urging, Xiao Jiao reluctantly took the second level, while Xiao Jin probably struggled to even get the second level. Xiao Jiao took 2 more computers and 2 mobile phones and handed them to Father Jiao and Mother Jiao. Dad, Mom, these computers and mobile phones are for you. Mother Jiao quickly declined and said, Xiao Jiao, Xiao Jie, why did you buy such a good computer and mobile phone for us? We don't need it, so why don't you just keep it for us? Li Jie persuaded with a smile, why don't you use it? Auntie, you and uncle are both teachers. It will be much more convenient to check some study materials and so on with a computer. You don't have to worry about me and Xiao Jiao, we don't lack these things. At this moment, Father Jiao suddenly remembered something, Xiao Jie, the mobile phone, computer and clothes Xiao Jiao brought back last year were all bought by you for her, right? After saying that, he glared at Xiao Jiao. This girl even lied to him and said that she won the lottery. Li Jie shook his head and said, Uncle, I really didn't buy those things. Xiao Jiao was lucky and really won the lottery. I was lucky, I spent 9,500 and won 9,000. Really, Father Jiao's expression was obviously unbelieving. Thinking about his daughter's abnormality when she came back during the New Year last year, he doubted that this kid Li Jie had succeeded at that time. But there was nothing he could do if they didn't admit it. After Xiao Jiao finished distributing the gifts, Mother Jiao looked at the time and announced dinner. Mother Jiao's dinner was still very sumptuous, even more sumptuous than at noon. This time, Father Jiao didn't drink any more wine from Li Jie, so he opened 2 bottles of beer, and the 2 of them drank some casually. Xiaojin also wanted to drink, but Jiao's father didn't let him. A drink he had with his mother Jiao and Xiao Jiao. Li Jie and Jiao's father chatted casually while eating food and drinking. As we chatted, we talked about housing prices. Father Chiao said that house prices have risen too much this year and will definitely fall again. Li Jie said that housing prices should fall slightly in the second half of this year, because an economic crisis is likely to break out abroad and affect the country. After that, housing prices will rebound, and they will continue to rise. It's no secret that there will be an economic crisis this year. The subprime mortgage crisis broke out in the United States last year, and many economists predicted that an economic crisis would definitely break out. The key is that no one can be sure when the economic crisis will break out. Li Jie doesn't remember the specific time when the economic crisis broke out. He only remembers that it was this autumn. That should be August or September. Come August, he'll have to keep a closer eye. Li Jie is still counting on making a fortune during the economic crisis and buying a nice villa. He has so many girlfriends and he doesn't have a good one. How about a bigger villa? Uncle, if an economic crisis breaks out in the second half of this year, it should be the best time to buy a house in the next 10 years. If you and your aunt have some spare money, buy a house for Xiaojin. If you miss the opportunity, the house will only become more and more expensive in the future. After hearing this, Father Chiao thought for a moment and asked, Xiaojie, do you really think housing prices will rise sharply in the future? Li Jie smiled and said, Uncle, housing prices will only get higher and higher in the next 10 years and will not fall sharply. Anyway, I will buy a few more houses this year. Li Jie doesn't plan to stock up on too many houses. He can buy a dozen or 20 houses in Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Hangzhou, Jiangning, which is enough for him and a few friends to live in. Storing too many houses will attract people's hatred, and it is of no use if left empty. In terms of investment income, there are many higher returns than buying a house. Okay, Uncle, I will listen to you. If house prices are going to fall this year, I will buy one too. Father Chiao nodded and said. If an ordinary student gave advice, Chiao's father would definitely not take it seriously, but Li Jie started from scratch and in less than a year, he made hundreds of millions of dollars in business. What he said was naturally very convincing. People worship geniuses. Xiaojie, where do you think it is best to buy a house? Then it depends on which city Xiaojin wants to go to university in the future and where she wants to develop. Li Jie said and glanced at his cheap brother-in-law. If you want to stay in the north, you can buy it in the capital. If you want to go south, you can buy it in the Shanghai and Shenzhen markets. Xiaojin smiled and asked, Brother-in-law, where is your company? My company is in Shanghai. Then I will go to Shanghai to take the college entrance examination. Xiaojin is a very smart guy. He knows that his brother-in-law is so rich, and there will definitely be benefits in following him. Father Chiao looked at his son, if you want to go to Shanghai Stock Exchange, you have to pass the exam. With your grades, you are good enough to go to Zhangde University. Dad, I will work hard, Xiaojin promised. Li Jie said to his brother-in-law, Xiaojin, when the holiday comes, you can come to Shanghai to have a look, and then let your sister take you around to play. After saying that, he said to Father Chiao and Mother Chiao, Uncle, Auntie, why don't you go together too? I bought a villa in Sheshan. It's in a scenic spot. The environment is pretty good. You can stay there for a while and treat it like a vacation. Mother Chiao and Xiaojin were very moved after hearing this. Father Chiao asked, Xiaojie, have you bought a villa? Well, it's just a small villa. How much did you spend? It's not expensive, only more than 15 million. Li Jie's words are as old as Versailles. Just over 15 million? After hearing this, Father Chiao, Mother Chiao, and Xiaojin didn't know what to say. It's like seeing the arrogance of a billionaire. Li Jie smiled in his heart. If you have money and strength, you should show off appropriately to win respect. Isn't it simply unhealthy to pretend to be poor despite being rich? If someone slaps you in the face, then pretend to be poor and step back. After dinner, Li Jie and Xiao Jiao watched TV series with Father Jiao and Mother Jiao for a while. Xiaojin, on the other hand, went back to her room to do her papers. High school students were not qualified to watch TV series. The TV series shown on TV is Crossing Guangdong. Li Jie held Xiao Jiao in his arms, and Xiao Jiao put her two fair and slender legs on his lap. The two of them were not so much watching TV series as they were being bored. Father Jiao noticed that Li Jie was touching his daughter's leg dishonestly, and he frowned. After seeing his daughter's face, he couldn't help but want to say something to him. However, he still endured it. Mother Jiao was very pleased after seeing Li Jie being intimate with her daughter. The two of them have a good relationship, which is a good thing. After watching 2 episodes of the TV series, it was already around 9 p.m. Mother Jiao smiled and said to Li Jie, "Xiao Jie, why don't you just spend the night in Xiao Jin's house tonight? Auntie, you are too polite to talk about being a general. My family's conditions are also very ordinary." Regarding Li Jie's words, Mother Jiao only regarded him as being polite. She kicked her son out of the room, helped Li Jie clean up the room, put on new sheets and quilts, and lit mosquito coils to prevent mosquitoes in the room. Li Jie stayed in his brother-in-law's room, while Xiao Jin went to live with Father Jiao in the master bedroom. As for Jiao's mother, she lives with her daughter. Li Jie lay on the single bed, tossing and turning. He slept all afternoon today and was not sleepy at all. So Li Jie picked up his cell phone, sent a message, and chatted with Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, Shen Xinyi, Luan Xiaolin, 4 of them. The conversation lasted until past 12 o'clock. Zhou Ziyu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi all fell asleep one after another, and only Luan Xiaolin was left. She is filming a night scene again tonight. In order to heighten the horror atmosphere, most of the scenes in Uncanny take place at night. While he was chatting with Luan Xiaolin, someone suddenly knocked on the door gently outside. Li Jie got up from the bed and opened the door. Outside the door, Xiao Jiao was only wearing a pink nightgown, the length of which just reached her knees, revealing her slender white calves. She had a sneaky little look, and as soon as the door opened, she immediately got into the house. Li Jie gave her a funny look. Why was he still acting like a thief in his own home? Don't you live with your aunt? Why did you come here? My mother is asleep. After saying that, Xiao Jiao whispered coquettishly, "Hubby, I was afraid that you would be lonely, so I came here to stay with you." Li Jie knew what he wanted to do as soon as he saw Xiao Jiao wagging his tail. No, he was acting coquettishly. She wanted him to give her a massage again. But didn't you get a massage this morning? This president has no sympathy for the hard work of a masseur like him. What, you don't miss me? Seeing that Li Jie was indifferent, Xiao Jiao took the initiative to hug him and then said coquettishly, "Uncle, Aunt, they're right next door." Li Jie also hugged Xiao Jiao. This small room is separated, and the soundproofing is very poor. It would be better if we make less noise. Xiao Jiao stood up on her tiptoes and asked for a kiss. Be quieter. In the dead of night, if you make a little noise, it will spread far away. What's more, Xiao Jiao's coquettishness is very distinctive and her nasal voice is very strong. Li Jie hugged Xiao Jiao and came to the bed. Although he doesn't want to, but his girlfriend does, what can he do? Li Jie actually understood that Xiao Jiao would come over in the middle of the night, more for excitement. But what's exciting about a massage in the middle of the night? There's really nothing we can do against her. Xiao Jiao spat out what was in his mouth and said with some dissatisfaction, "What are you doing?" It turned out that Li Jie stuffed the pillow towel into her mouth. This is a new pillow cover. Just use it for a while, so don't dislike it. Li Jie stuffed the pillow cover into Xiao Jiao's mouth again. "Bite it, don't make a sound," he said, patting her little buttocks. He was just giving her a massage. If there was too much noise, Father Jiao and Mother Jiao would be alarmed, and they would misunderstand that they were doing something else. Then he was so unjust. Second bedroom. Mother Chiao turned over and rolled directly to the other side of the bed. As she slept in a daze, she vaguely felt that something was wrong, and subconsciously began to wonder what was wrong. Then Mother Chiao woke up. She also wanted to understand what was wrong. Every time she turned over in bed and put her arms and legs on her husband, he would push her, but no one pushed her this time. Mother Chiao opened her eyes and found that this was not the master bedroom, but her daughter's room. Only then did she react and remember that her daughter brought her boyfriend home today. Come to think of it, she slept with her daughter. It's not right. Where has Xiao Chiao gone? Did you go to the bathroom? Mother Chiao reached out and turned on the light. She looked at the clock on the wall and found that it was about 12:30 in the morning. She remembered chatting quietly with her daughter until after 11 o'clock, which meant that she had just slept for less than an hour. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes passed by, but her daughter never came back. Mother Chiao couldn't help but feel suspicious. She got up and left the room, walked through the living room and came to the bathroom. Only to find that there was no one in the bathroom. Xiao Chiao didn't come to the bathroom, so where was she in the middle of the night? A thought suddenly came to Mother Chiao's mind. It couldn't be in Li Zhe's room, right? Thinking of this, she hesitantly came to the door of the small bedroom, leaned against the door and listened. She heard some movement. Mother Chiao was stunned for a moment, her face couldn't help but blush a little, then she shook her head with a smile and said nonsense in her heart. After returning to the room and turning off the lights, Mother Chiao lay on the bed and waited for a long time. She estimated that it took at least half an hour, maybe more than 40 minutes, before Xiao Chiao came back. She opened the door gently, walked in quietly, glanced at Mother Chiao who was still, pretending to be, asleep, went to bed and lay down next to Mother Chiao. Xiao Chiao was really tired and fell asleep quickly as soon as she lay down, but Mother Chiao next to her fell asleep looking at her. The next day, Mother Chiao got up late after going to bed at midnight. When she woke up, it was already past 7 o'clock. Her son Xiaojin had already gone to school, and her father Chiao was also up. Why did you get up late today? Didn't you get a good rest last night? Father Chiao asked. A little insomnia. Mother Chiao was a little hesitant. After thinking about it, she still didn't tell her husband about last night's discovery. You're fine, why are you still having insomnia? By the way, is Xiao Chiao awake? She's too tired, let her sleep a little longer. Too tired? Father Chiao didn't understand. Could it be that her mother and daughter chatted too late yesterday? Uncle, Aunt, good morning. At this time, Li Zhe came out of the small bedroom. He was in good spirits and seemed to have slept well. Father Chiao nodded to Li Zhe and said hello. Mother Chiao also said hello to him, but her eyes were a little strange. Her son-in-law is in good health. After Chiao's father finished breakfast, he also went to school. Mother Chiao took the opportunity to clean the room and went to the small bedroom to take a look. After she found that the trash can was very clean, she resisted saying nonsense in her heart. Xiao Chiao woke up after 8 o'clock, almost 9 o'clock. She lazily walked out of the room and came to Li Zhe. Just as she was about to sit down, Mother Chiao called her to the master bedroom. Mom, what do you want from me? Xiao Chiao asked a little confused. Mother Chiao didn't say anything, but stuffed several small packaging bags into her hand. After Xiao Chiao saw the brand clearly, she couldn't help but blush, and said coquettishly, Mom, why did you give me this? Mother Chiao glanced at her and said meaningfully, you should know very well what I am doing for you. When Xiao Chiao heard this, he immediately understood that she had been discovered last night. Mom, you misunderstood. I just went to Li Zhe's house last night to stay with him for a while. Okay, don't explain, Mother Chiao waved her hand. You and Xiaoji have not been together for a long time. It is normal to have some greed, but you must take precautions, otherwise what should you do if something happens? You are both still in school. After hearing this, Xiao Jiao was silent for a few seconds and said, "Mom, I've thought about it. If something really happens, I will drop out of school." Mother Jiao didn't expect her daughter to say that, and was stunned when she heard it. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 289. Li Zhe didn't stay at Xiao Jiao's house for long, only 3 or 4 days. He had been living quite comfortably these past few days. His mother-in-law entertained him with delicious food and drinks, and Xiao Jiao would sneak over to accompany him at night. In fact, Xiao Jiao's sneaky behavior is a bit deceptive. Every time she ran to Li Zhe's room at night, Mother Jiao knew about it. And the next night, she was bumped into by Jiao Di again. In order to silence his brother, Xiao Jiao could only give him a few $100 in pocket money. Only Jiao's father was kept in the dark. He didn't know that his daughter was being bullied by Li Zhe at home. On the 17th, Li Zhe went shopping with Xiao Jiao in the city and bought her a pair of engagement rings and some engagement jewelry. The rings and jewelry are all gold. As for the engagement fee, Li Zhe did not give more than 10,000 yuan to Jiao's father and Jiao's mother, which symbolized 1 in a million. In front of Jiao's father and Jiao's mother, Li Zhe put the engagement ring on Xiao Jiao, and then handed the gift money and red envelope to Jiao's father with both hands. The moment he put on the ring, Xiao Jiao's little face was full of joy, and both his father and mother were extremely happy. After accepting the gift, Jiao's father and mother Jiao asked Li Zhe when they could meet his in-laws to discuss the engagement date. Li Zhe had a headache when he heard that the parents of both parties were going to meet. He hasn't told his mother about Xiao Jiao yet. She also thought that Zhou was her future daughter-in-law. The last time she called, she specifically asked about the two of them. I suddenly told her that my daughter-in-law had been replaced, and I didn't know if she could accept it. The night of the 17th. Zhou watched a movie with Zhou Qing, and when they returned to the small apartment, it was already past 9 p.m. She took a can of coffee from the refrigerator, drank it, sat down at the desk, turned on the computer, logged into QQ, and checked the news. Suddenly, she found that Xiao Jiao's button was updated, so she clicked on it. Cao was added to each other when the relationship between Zhou and Xiao Jiao eased. At that time, the two also agreed on limited cooperation and agreed to keep an eye on Li Zhe. Unfortunately, because both of them had their own agendas, this alliance soon broke down. The plastic sisters are once again hostile to each other. "We're getting engaged." Zhou's eyes froze when she saw the title of Cao Doshuo. The accompanying photo is a photo of a couple with their fingers intertwined. It can be clearly seen that there are rings on the ring fingers of both hands. One hand was Li Zhe's hand, and the other hand, Zhou knew without guessing, must be Xiao Jiao's. Xiao Jiao is demonstrating to her. Zhou knew that Li Zhe was going to his parents when he accompanied Xiao Jiao home this time. But she never expected that the two of them would get engaged so soon. This caught her a little off guard. However, Zhou's heart was only confused for a few seconds before she calmed down. Being engaged doesn't mean anything. Legally, engagement is not a necessary procedure before marriage. Whoever can get the certificate is the winner. On the night of the 18th, after Xiao Jiao's mother fell asleep, pretending to be asleep, she sneaked into Li Zhe's room. She was particularly reluctant to leave this night because Li Zhe was leaving tomorrow. Xiao Jiao lay on Li Zhe and hugged him tightly. Li Zhe gently stroked her fair and delicate back. The single bed was too small, so the two of them couldn't lie apart, so they had to squeeze together. "Husband, won't you stay a few more days?" Xiao Jiao said softly. "No, the company has something to deal with," Li Zhe said with a smile. "How about I go back with you?" I only go home once a holiday. You'd better stay with your uncle and aunt for a few more days. Besides, after I go back, I have to go on a business trip abroad, and I don't have time to spend time with you. Okay, after hearing what Li Jie said, Jiao had no choice but to nod in agreement. Aren't you going back? The two chatted for a while, then Li Jie asked Xiao Jiao. You are leaving tomorrow, let me stay with you for a while. Xiao Jiao paused and said, anyway, my mother also knows. When Li Jie heard this, there was no surprise on his face. He also guessed that Mother Jiao must know. Otherwise, she wouldn't have suddenly made him some old hen soup and advised him to drink more. At his mother-in-law's house, he bullied her daughter and even made her a nourishing chicken soup. No matter how thick-skinned Li Jie was, he felt a little embarrassed when he drank the chicken soup. But he couldn't help it. His mother-in-law was too enthusiastic. He wanted to help her with some housework to show off, but she refused to let him go. Husband, suddenly Xiao Jiao acted coquettishly again, her voice sweet and sweet. Of course, she would only behave like this in front of Li Jie. If she dared to behave like this with Father Jiao, she would definitely be scolded. What do you want to do again? As soon as he saw the president wagging her tail, no, it was coquettish, Li Jie knew what she wanted to do. Honey, please help me again. Xiao Jiao bit her lip and said seductively. This little elf. Li Jie sighed softly in his heart. He, a serious person, was led astray by her. If Xiao Jiao knew that the scumbag, no, it was Li Jie who took advantage and beat him up, he would probably want to kill him. Then don't make a sound. The next day, at around 6 o'clock in the morning, Xiao Jiao opened the door of the small bedroom and took a peek outside. After making sure that no one was in the living room, she hurriedly came out of the small bedroom, closed the door, and hurried to the second bedroom. At this time, the door of the master bedroom suddenly opened, and Father Jiao, who had gotten up early, walked out. Seeing Xiao Jiao, he couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. What are you doing in such a hurry so early in the morning? I'm going to the bathroom. Xiao Jiao looked guilty. Dad, I'm back in the house. After saying that, she ran to the door of the second bedroom, opened the door and got in. After closing the door, Xiao Jiao let out a breath. She was shocked. Why did her father come out suddenly? Xiao Jiao turned around and saw Mother Jiao sitting on the bed looking at her. Father Jiao was still a little dazed when he saw his daughter running back to the house. He always felt that something was wrong. Why was she panicking when she went to the bathroom? His eyes fell on the door of the small bedroom inadvertently. Father Jiao suddenly realized what he had guessed. Thinking about his daughter's abnormality in the past few days, his guess became more certain, and his face couldn't help but look a little ugly. Li Jie, that stinky boy. The 19th is Saturday, but high schools also have classes on Saturday. Jiao's father knew that Li Jie was leaving today, so he asked for leave and did not go to school. Mother Jiao also prepared a hearty meal. But at the dinner table, Father Jiao didn't look good on Li Jie. After getting along with him for a few days, he thought Li Jie was pretty good, and he was a little reluctant to see him leave. However, after guessing that this kid has been busy these days, after bullying his daughter, Father Jiao thought it would be better for him to get out of here. After dinner, he said goodbye to Xiao Jiao, Father Jiao, and Mother Jiao, and Li Jie left. He first took a taxi to the airport, and then took a plane to Hangzhou. Before returning to the Shanghai stock market, Li Jie first wanted to find his little lover. After Li Jie left, Xiao Jiao's interest was obviously not high, and he seemed to be absent-minded about anything he did. Father Jiao and Mother Jiao both see this. After staying at home for another 3 or 4 days, Xiao Jiao said that he wanted to go back to Shanghai. But Father Jiao stopped her. Don't leave in a hurry, stay a few more days. Seeing his daughter's unwillingness, he paused and then said, stay a few more days. When the school is over, your mother, I, and Xiaojin will go to Shanghai with you. Really, when Xiao Qiao heard this, he immediately became happy. That's great. When we go to the Shanghai market together, I can take you, Mom, and Xiaojin around. Mother Qiao was a little surprised and glanced at her husband. I thought you didn't want to go. A few days ago, Li Jie invited them to go to Shanghai to play, but her husband did not express his position. Father Qiao sighed softly. You have to go to that guy's company to see the situation and actually understand the situation. You can't just listen to what he says. As he spoke, he glanced at Xiao Qiao. His daughter was obviously eaten to death by that boy Li Jie, and he only hoped that the boy could really be relied on. Li Jie got on the plane at around 11 noon on the 19th. The plane flew for 2 hours and arrived in Hangzhou at around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. After getting off the plane, Li Jie didn't call Zhou Ziyu. After leaving the airport, he took a taxi and went directly to her small apartment. An hour later, Li Jie came to the door of the small apartment and took out his key to open the door. It turned out that the door was locked and could not be opened. So Li Jie could only ring the doorbell. The doorbell rang, and Zhou Ziyu's soft and pleasant voice soon came from inside the house. Who is it? Express delivery, Li Jie said hoarsely. After saying that, he hid aside. Soon, Zhou Ziyu came to the door. She looked out through the peephole and found that there was no one outside. She asked doubtfully, Hello, are you still there? Li Jie said nothing. Then, Zhou Ziyu asked a few more questions. Seeing that there was no movement outside the door, she went back in confusion. Li Jie waited outside the door for a long time, but Zhou Ziyu never opened the door, thinking that his little lover was quite vigilant. Of course, this is a good thing. However, he originally wanted to give her a surprise, but now it seems he can't do it. Li Jie took out his mobile phone and dialed Zhou Ziyu. This time, the door was opened quickly. Although he already knew that Li Jie was back, Zhou Ziyu couldn't help but reveal a look of surprise on his face after seeing him. Honey, why didn't you tell me in advance when you came back so that I could pick you up at the airport? Li Jie smiled, put his arm around her waist, and walked into the room. I want to give you a surprise. Were you the one who rang the doorbell just now? Zhou Ziyu immediately realized and asked with a smile. I didn't expect you to be quite vigilant. Of course I have to be careful when I live alone. Zhou Ziyu took Li Jie's backpack, helped him put on his slippers, and pulled him to sit down on the sofa. Then she was busy getting him something to drink and fruit. Okay, Ziyu, please stop working. Li Jie smiled and waved, asking her to come and sit down. Zhou Ziyu put the fruit on the coffee table and sat down next to him on the sofa. Li Jie smiled and held her in his arms. Ziyu, how about I find you a bodyguard? Among his several girlfriends, Li Jie was most worried about Zhou Ziyu. He was not worried that she would cheat on her. A smart girl like her knows exactly what to do and what not to do. He was worried that something might happen to her. She was so beautiful and charming that she would be easily coveted. If his little lover hadn't been vigilant enough, Li Jie would be even more worried. Zhou Ziyu smiled lightly. Hubby, I listen to you. After saying that, she took a lychee, peeled it open and fed it to him. Li Jie ate the lychee and then said, well, when we get back to Shanghai, I will find you a reliable bodyguard. The two of them chatted for a while, and after talking for a while, Zhou Ziyu said, Hubby, are you hungry? I'll cook for you. Li Jie stopped her and said, Ziyu, stop being busy. I'm not hungry yet. Let's go out to eat in the evening. Zhou Ziyu listened and nodded with a smile. At this moment, her cell phone rang. She answered the call, said a few words, and then hung up. What's the matter? Is something wrong? Li Jie noticed that her expression was slightly hesitant. It's nothing. There's just a high school reunion, and my classmates contacted me. Josiah glanced at him and said softly. What day? Tonight. Li Jie smiled and said nonchalantly, then go, I'll go with you. If Josiah went to a class reunion by herself, he would definitely not agree to it, but if he went with her, it wouldn't matter. Besides, with Josiah's temperament, if she really didn't want to go, she wouldn't tell him about it. If someone treats us, we can have a meal together, he joked. After hearing this, Josiah smiled and said yeah. Li Jie thought for a while, then asked her where the classmates were meeting, and then called Shen Baishan. At around 5 o'clock in the evening, Li Jie got into Josiah's Porsche Boxster S. Josiah drove the car, and the two of them arrived at a star-rated hotel on the edge of the West Lake. Walk into the hotel and come to the party box. As soon as they saw Li Jie and Josiah come in, everyone in the box turned their attention to them. A tall and beautiful girl stood up and greeted with a smile, Xiao, you are here. Xiao Yuan, Josiah also smiled and greeted the girl. Then, several more boys and girls greeted Josiah, and Josiah responded one by one. While Josiah was chatting with his classmates, Li Jie took a look at the people present. There were not many people, only a dozen or so, and there were more girls than boys. Some of these boys and girls are good looking, some are average looking, but they are all well dressed, especially the girls, who are all very beautifully dressed. Li Jie also saw Zhou Yiyang, the boy who chased Josiah in high school. He was sitting next to a girl who was fashionably dressed, good looking, and a bit arrogant and coquettish in her eyebrows. Seeing Josiah coming, Zhou Yiyang wanted to stand up and say hello to her, but was stopped by the frown of the girl next to him. After the greetings were finished, the tall, pretty girl named Xiao Yuan, who was the first to greet Josiah, glanced at Li Jie, then asked with a smile, Xiao, is this your boyfriend? Next, the second round of palace battle begins. It is not difficult for Xiao Zhou to challenge Xiao Qiao, but if it is a 1vs2. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 290. Josiah smiled and nodded to her. My boyfriend Li Jie is also my college classmate. Then, she introduced Li Jie, this is Xiao Yuan, my good friend. Hello, handsome guy, Xiao Yuan took the initiative to say hello to Li Jie with a smile. Xiao, she is the most beautiful girl in our school. I don't know how many boys like her, but I didn't expect that you would pursue her. Li Jie also responded with a smile, hello, beauty. I also feel that meeting Tsuyu is my greatest luck. Hearing what Li Jie said, Zhou Yiyang didn't know what he thought of, and his face changed slightly, while the girl next to him sneered and snorted, seeming to be a little disdainful. Her cold snort was clearly heard by everyone in the box, and the scene became a little tense for a moment. A tall boy with dark skin and glasses stood up to ease the atmosphere. He greeted Li Jie with a smile and said, hello, I am Hele. Josiah introduced, this is our squad leader. Li Jie listened and nodded to Hele with a smile. After that, Josiah introduced Li Jie to all the classmates present. After the introduction, the two of them took their seats. By coincidence, Li Jie and Josiah were sitting opposite Zhou Yiyang and the girl next to him named Chen Lin. After waiting for a while, two more people came and the time came. Hele picked up the menu and asked everyone to order. Our meal is Yiyang's treat, he said with a smile. Everyone took turns ordering one or two dishes. After ordering, they started chatting. Li Jie didn't know anyone present, so he sat quietly and watched Josiah reminiscing with familiar classmates. Among the group of people, Hele was the most active and stirred up the atmosphere, but it was Zhou Yiyang and Chen Lin who were the most popular. Of course, there are many people who take the initiative to talk to Josiah. It can only be said that beautiful women are welcome everywhere. Xiaolin, you are finally together with the school idol of Zhou University. We all liked you too in high school, a girl said to Changlin with a smile. But after she said this, many people subconsciously looked at Zhou Ziyu. Because in high school, more people were optimistic about Zhou Ziyu and Zhou Yiyang. After listening to the girl's words, Changlin smiled contentedly and reached out to hold Zhou Yiyang's arm. Yiyang and I grew up together, and our relationship is unparalleled by others. Besides, I gave him my first kiss when I was in elementary school. It's okay for him to be irresponsible. As she spoke, she glanced at Zhou Ziyu provocatively. Zhou Ziyu seemed not to notice, and whispered this to Li Jie. She was very considerate of Li Jie's feelings and would chat with him from time to time in order to prevent him from getting bored. The boys and girls present started to boo when they heard Changlin revealed that she had her first kiss with Zhou Yiyang in elementary school. Zhou Yiyang's expression was a little awkward and unnatural, and he explained, "Don't listen to Changlin's nonsense. We were still young at that time, and we just touched our lips when we were playing." As he said that, he glanced at Zhou Ziyu subconsciously. Changlin noticed Zhou Yiyang's gaze and couldn't help but be very dissatisfied. Her face became ugly, and she pulled Zhou Yiyang's arm hard. Zhou Ziyu glanced at Zhou Yiyang and Changlin. She was not surprised that the two came together. Changlin comes from a very good family. Both her parents are civil servants with real power. Her father is also a moderate leader. Therefore, Zhou Yiyang's mother has always liked Changlin and intended to bring them together. And Zhou Yiyang is a person with a weak character and no independent opinion. In front of his strong mother, he can't make the decision in anything. After chatting for a while, the waiter started to serve the food. He Lei and Xiao Yuan suggested that if everyone rarely gets together, they should drink some beer together. If girls can't drink enough, they should drink less. When everyone present heard this, they all agreed. But Zhou Yiyang said, "You guys drink, I won't drink anymore, I have to drive soon." A boy asked, "Yiyang, did you drive here?" Before Zhou Yiyang could speak, Changlin said first, Yiyang's father bought him a BMW 3 Series. Hearing this, many people showed envious eyes. In this era, there are not so many luxury cars, but a young man driving a BMW 3 Series is very popular, enough to attract the attention of girls. Then, another boy said that he also drove here and stopped drinking. "Can the rest of the people drink?" He Lei asked. At this time, Xiao Yuan glanced at Zhou Ziyu and asked with a smile, "Xiao, you came by car too, right?" Hearing what she said, many people present looked surprised. Many people in the class know that Zhou Ziyu's family background is not good. A girl asked out of curiosity, "Xiao, have you bought a car?" Before Zhou Ziyu could answer, Xiao Yuan smiled and said, it was a gift from her boyfriend. After speaking, she glanced at Li Jie. The people present were even more surprised when they heard this, and they all turned their attention to Li Jie. Li Jihun didn't care about everyone's gaze. He came here today mainly to help Zhou Ziyu in Versailles. Let Zhou Ziyu's former classmates know that she has found a very good boyfriend. This scumbag, no, it's Li Jie who feels better about himself and becomes thicker-skinned. Although it is tacky to show off, it is human nature. As the saying goes, if wealth does not return to its hometown, it will be like walking at night in brocade clothes. Li Jie was just thinking about how to help his little lover pretend to be invisible, when Xiao Yuan came to assist. Changlin glanced at Zhou Ziyu, who smiled and said nothing, feeling unspeakable jealousy and disgust in her heart. This Zhou Ziyu was competing with her to steal Zhou Yiyang's limelight at the class reunion. What was most difficult for Changlin to accept was that Zhou Yiyang was already with her, but she was still thinking about Zhou Ziyu in her heart. He didn't even think about it. Zhou Ziyu's mother was the crooked woman in the foot washing room. How could she be a good person? Cars are cheaper now. Many domestic cars can be bought for tens of thousands of yuan. Lin said this while looking at Zhou Ziyu and Li Jie. As soon as she said this, many people had strange expressions on their faces. In high school, the relationship between Lin and Zhou Ziyu was very bad because of Zhou Yiyang. But 1 year after graduation, Lin and Zhou Yiyang were together, and Zhou Ziyu also found a boyfriend. However, Lin was still so hostile to Zhou Ziyu. A girl asked, "Ziyu, what kind of car did your boyfriend buy you?" Zhou Ziyu glanced at the girl, smiled and said, "It's just a car for transportation." "This is not an ordinary scooter." Xiao Yuan took over the words with a smile. "The one my boyfriend bought is a Volvo, which is no worse than the BMW that Zhou University's boss has." "Not worse than her boyfriend's BMW." As soon as Lin finished speaking, she was slapped in the face, and her face couldn't help but become even uglier. He lay smiled and relaxed the atmosphere and said, "Don't just talk, everyone eat. Let's chat while eating." Next, the atmosphere at the table became more harmonious. Everyone drank, ate, and chatted with each other. Zhou Ziyu became the focus of questioning by her classmates. Several girls asked her about how she met Li Jie. On Li Jie's side, He Lei also took the initiative to chat with him. "Shall we have a drink?" He Lei picked up the wine glass. Okay, Li Jie picked up the wine glass and clinked it with the other party. Putting down his wine glass, He Lei said with a smile, "Brother, you can do it." In high school, there were countless boys chasing Tsuyu, but she didn't agree to any of them. Li Jie smiled, "I don't know what Tsuyu likes about me." He said something about Versailles. "What do you like about you?" "Because you have money." He Lei also had a crush on Zhou Ziyu, but he was very self-aware and knew that a girl like Zhou Ziyu was not worthy of him. In terms of family background and appearance, Zhou Yiyang is much better than him. But Zhou Ziyu didn't even like Zhou Yiyang, let alone him. As a student, he could give girls a car worth 300,000 to 400,000 yuan. In He Lei's opinion, Li Jie must be a second-generation rich man who is just as good as Zhou Yiyang. This made him feel a little jealous. It was great to have money at home. After the two chatted for a while, He Lei pretended to be casual and asked, "Li Jie, what do you do at home?" "My family is just an ordinary family, maybe even a little worse," Li Jie said flatly. He Lei didn't believe it when he heard it. Ordinary families could afford to buy such a good car for their girlfriend. Xiao Yuan laughed and added, "Li Jie is the founder of the first generation, and we are still asking for money from home. He has already started a company to make money, and he uses the money he earns to buy a car for his girlfriend." Although Xiao Yuan's words were unintentional and fell into Lin's ears, she felt that the other party was mocking her and Zhou Yiyang. After all, she just showed off that Zhou Yiyang's BMW 3 Series was bought by his father. He Lei was stunned for a moment after hearing Xiao Yuan's words, and was very surprised. "Li Jie, you started a business while still in school." "It's just a small company," Li Jie said modestly. "So what does your company do?" "Making games, web games." When He Lei heard this, he couldn't help but understand. Coincidentally, he majored in computer science in college and studied programming, so he really knows a bit about the game industry. "I know that even a newly established small company can really make a fortune as long as it is lucky and can make a small hit game." But he didn't expect that Zhou Ziyu didn't look at the rich second generation like Zhou Yiyang, who was handsome and had a better family background, but instead fell in love with a student and small boss like Li Jie who had just started his own business. He Lei also wanted to ask what kind of game Li Jie's company developed, and Xiao Yuan interrupted at this time. "Li Jie, I heard from Xiao that you are still writing books online. What book have you written?" "It's a fantasy novel about fighting and killing," Li Jie said. Upon hearing that it was a fantasy novel, Xiao Yuan was immediately not very interested. "Can you tell me the title of the book?" a short, thin boy wearing a pair of black-rimmed glasses suddenly interrupted. Li Jie glanced at the boy and said, "There's nothing I can't say. It's called martial arts without limits. Martial arts without limits?" When the boy heard this, he was obviously stunned for a moment. When he realized what he was doing, he said with some excitement and disbelief, "Are you Master Zimu?" "What, have you read my book?" Li Jie asked. "I've read it, and I really like martial arts without limits. It's so enjoyable to write." After saying that, the boy asked a little unsurely, "You are really the great Master Zimu?" Li Jie smiled and said, "I'm just a novelist. Isn't it worth pretending to be?" Seeing such a big reaction from boys, many people were curious. Martial arts without limits? Is this novel very popular on the internet? Xiao Yuan asked. "It's not very popular, it's too popular," the boy was a little excited. 3 to 400,000 people have read this novel, and it's just a website. How popular do you think it is? As soon as they heard the figure of 3 to 400,000, everyone present was shocked. People who don't read online novels can't tell the difference between collecting and subscribing. I don't know that just having a large collection is useless if no one subscribes. I just think that if so many people read the novel, it will definitely make a lot of money." "How much money can this novel make?" someone asked. "How do I know this?" "You have to ask Master Zimu." After the boy finished speaking, he looked at Li Jie, "But I think it's possible to earn 1 million a year, right Master Zimu?" Li Jie glanced at the boy again. As soon as he heard what he said, he knew that he was a fake fan and had never subscribed to his book. If you just rely on electronic subscriptions, the income will definitely not reach that level. Plus the physical book royalties are almost the same. After hearing Li Jie personally admit that he could earn 1 million a year, the boys and girls present were shocked again. Even though many of them have good family conditions, earning 1 million per year is still a shocking figure. After all, many college students today only have a monthly income of over 10,000 yuan after graduation. Moreover, if one does not graduate from a key university, this goal is extremely difficult to achieve. After a few seconds, Xiao Yuan said with a smile, "Li Jie, you and Xiao are such a talented man and beautiful woman." She had said this to Zhou Ziyu before, but she was just polite, but now she meant it sincerely. The boy before asked again, "Master Zimu, why didn't you write a book at Kidian? Instead, you went to another website. I heard that in order to poach you, that website spent millions to sign a contract and buy out your book. Is this true?" When you hear millions, the attention of everyone present was attracted again. Fake Li Jie shook his head lightly. "Not so much. No, I didn't get paid." When the boy heard this, he looked unbelieving. "I understand, you can't say the contract is confidential, right?" Li Jie just smiled and said nothing. At this time, Zhou Ziyu said softly, "He really didn't get any money, so the novel website is his company." After hearing her words, everyone present was stunned again. In the following time, Li Jie and Zhou Ziyu became the focus of everyone present, and were asked questions one after another. The more He Lei and Xiao Yuan asked, the more surprised and shocked they became. Chen Lin sat aside and watched this scene, her expression getting increasingly ugly. Originally, she and Zhou Yiyang came to this class reunion just to tell everyone that they were together. That Zhou Ziyu didn't compete with her in the end, she was the winner. Fortunately now, all the limelight has been stolen by that Zhou Ziyu. What made Chen Lin extremely unbalanced was, how could Zhou Ziyu, a loser, find such a good boyfriend? Self-made, rich, capable, and not bad-looking. Shouldn't the other party look disappointed and look at her and Zhou Yiyang together with envy? Suddenly, Chen Lin noticed that Zhou Yiyang was staring at Zhou Ziyu, and she felt even more annoyed and angry. Is that Zhou Ziyu so unforgettable to him? But she already has a boyfriend. Chen Lin used to think that Zhou Yiyang was sunny, handsome, gentle, and considerate, and could not be better, but now she feels that he is a bit useless. She reached out and pinched his thigh hard. Zhou Yiyang was jolted by the pinch, and when he came back to his senses, he frowned and glanced at her inexplicably. After eating, he Lei and Xiao Yuan suggested that they all go to karaoke together. Everyone responded one after another, and Zhou Yiyang also agreed, but Chen Lin said with a cold face, "No, you go ahead, Yiyang, and I won't go." Her words undoubtedly swept Zhou Yiyang's face. Zhou Yiyang didn't expect that she would say that, so he was stunned and said, "Xiao Lin, everyone is in high spirits, why don't we just play some more?" "I won't go if I say no." Chen Lin didn't give her boyfriend any face. "What to play? Continue to watch Zhou steal the show? It seems that you are obsessed with others." She turned around and walked out. "Xiao Lin." Zhou Yiyang said sorry to everyone, glanced at Zhou subconsciously, and then quickly went to chase his girlfriend. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 291. Li Jie and I are not going either. Zhou and Li Jie looked at each other and said to everyone. After Chen Lin's commotion, and the fact that Li Jie and Zhou were not going, everyone was not interested in going to karaoke anymore and decided to break up. At this time, the waiter came in, smiled and asked if he needed to pay. When everyone present heard this, they were stunned for a moment, and then they remembered that Zhou Yiyang was treating him tonight. But before he could pay the bill, he chased Chen Lin away. Everyone looked at me and I looked at you. No one said anything. In the end, they subconsciously focused on Li Jie and Zhou. Seeing this, Xiao Yuan couldn't help but said, "How about we share it equally?" He Lei also said, "Let's all share it equally." This guy Yiyang left in a hurry and forgot to pay. As soon as they heard that it was going to be divided equally, some people were unhappy. "Didn't you say you don't have to pay?" "I didn't bring any money," a boy whispered. He Lei looked a little ugly after hearing this and glanced at the boy. He is the organizer of this party, and he also called everyone here. Now the guest, Zhou Yiyang, left without paying the bill. Logically, he should be responsible. But this meal, drinks, and service charges cost 3,000 to 4,000 anyway. He Lei's family background can only be said to be ordinary, not very good. He is also a student, so he really can't afford this money. The cash in his wallet plus the money in his card amounted to just over 2,000 yuan. Zhou looked at Xiao Yuan and He Lei, then at everyone present, smiled, and said, "I'll pay." When Xiao Yuan heard this, she quickly stopped her and said, "No, no, no. Xiao, how can I ask you to pay for it?" She was the one who called Zhou over, so what's the point of asking people to pay? "I'll pay for it." Xiao Yuan's family is well off, and 3,000 to 4,000 yuan is her monthly living expenses. "How can I ask girls to pay?" "I should pay," a boy suddenly said. This boy also drove here, his name is Zhang Minjiao. "No matter boys or girls, everyone pays the same." Zhou moved faster, taking out the bank card first and handing it to the waiting waiter. "Swipe your card." The waiter didn't care who paid, as long as someone paid. He took the bank card with a smile. After the checkout, everyone was a little embarrassed and stopped talking. After walking out of the hotel, He Lei discussed that everyone should take a taxi together. Zhang Minjiao took out the car keys and said, "My car can still seat 4 people. Does anyone want to sit in it? By the way, forget about boys, only girls," he said again with a smile. Some boys joked, "Minjiao, you are not very particular. You only give it to girls, isn't it a goal?" Zhang Minjiao smiled after hearing this, and then said to Xiao Yuan, "Xiao Yuan, why don't we go together?" Suddenly, everyone understood that his target was Xiao Yuan, and they all showed ambiguous and teasing eyes. Xiao Yuan glanced at Zhang Minjiao, smiled and declined, "Thank you, but no, I'll take Xuyu's car." After saying that, she said to Zhou Ziyu, Xiao, please, please and Li Jie send me off. Zhou Ziyu smiled sheepishly at her and said, Xiao Yuan, I'm afraid it won't work. My car only has 2 seats. As she said that, she took out her car key and pressed it. The red Porsche Boxster S in the parking space flashed its lights. Porsche. Everyone present was stunned for a moment. Didn't Xiao Yuan say that Zhou Ziyu's car is a Volvo? Xiao, where is your Volvo? Xiao Yuan also looked surprised. Zhou Ziyu explained, that Volvo was bought for me by Li Jie before, and I gave it to my mother to drive. Hearing what she said, everyone subconsciously looked at Li Jie. He knew that this Porsche was a new car he gave to Zhou Ziyu. One girl couldn't help but said, does this car cost $1 million? It's not that expensive, it's just the entry-level model, Zhou Ziyu said. Another girl said, that's not much cheaper. Ziyu, your boyfriend is so kind to you, her tone was full of envy. After hearing this, Zhou Ziyu smiled and looked at Li Jie subconsciously. At this time, Zhang Minjiao saw the opportunity and said to Xiao Yuan, why don't I give it to you? Xiao Yuan looked at Zhang Minjiao and hesitated for a moment, then nodded and agreed. Seeing Xiao Yuan agreed, Zhang Minjiao's face suddenly showed joy. He pressed the car key and the lights of a black Audi A6 flashed. A boy said, Minjiao, your car is pretty good. This is my dad's car, I just use it to drive it, Zhang Minjiao explained. Another boy said with a smile, Minjiao, you can't believe that your kid is still a rich second generation. Zhang Minjiao shook his head disapprovingly, what kind of rich second generation am I? His family has some money, but both Zhou Yiyang's family and the Li Jie brought by Zhou Ziyu are much richer than his family. Zhang Minjiao drove Xiao Yuan in an Audi A6 and left with 3 other girls. There were still 4 boys, Li Jie, Zhou Ziyu, He Lei, and 5 girls present. He Lei said, Li Jie, Ziyu, we can just take a taxi together. You should leave first. Li Jie glanced at the 5 girls and said, wait a minute, I can still call a car. As he spoke, he took out his cell phone and made a call. After the call was made, a black Volkswagen drove out of the parking space not far away. Li Jie, is this your car too? He Lei said unexpectedly. No, I rented this car temporarily, and the driver is my driver, Li Jie explained. After saying that, he asked the 5 girls to get in the car, 1 on the passenger seat, and the remaining 4 girls crowded in the back seat. After instructing Shen Basehan to send all 5 girls home, Li Jie said hello to He Lei, then got into the Porsche Boxster S with Zhou Ziyu and left. Seeing the red Porsche walking away, He Lei also said to the other 3 boys, let's take a taxi too. A boy suddenly said, the boyfriend Zhou Ziyu brought here is a bit pretentious. His tone was a little sour. He Lei glanced at the boy, feeling a little unhappy. This boy was the one who had lost face when he proposed to split the money equally. It's a good-looking outfit, said Li Jie's fake fan, a boy wearing black-rimmed glasses. You can give your girlfriend a Porsche, can you afford it? The boy who mocked Li Jie was scolded, and his face looked a little ugly, isn't it just a little money? What's so great about it? It's more than just a little money. He Lei glanced at the boy. Do you know Kudong Group? I don't know, the boy wearing black-rimmed glasses said. Is this company famous? Then you know Dandan Hall, right? He Lei asked again. I know Duntun Tang, this game is very popular, the boy wearing black-rimmed glasses said quickly when he heard it. The other 2 boys also nodded to show their understanding. Dandan Tang is online on the school network, and its main propaganda position is in colleges and universities. There are very few students who don't know about Duntun Tang. Brother Lei, are you saying that Dandan Tang was developed by Li Jie's game company? The boy wearing black-rimmed glasses reacted and said. He Lei nodded, didn't Li Jie say that he is the boss of Qiu Chinese Network? Both Qiu Chinese Network and Qwen Technology belong to Kudong Group, and Qwen Technology is the game company that developed Dandan Tang. The boy who mocked Li Jie asked, How do you know so clearly? He glanced at the boy and ignored him. The reason why he knew this was because he had read a piece of news about college students starting a business on the internet not long ago. The other party's entrepreneurial experience made him stunned for a moment. In particular, he was deeply impressed by the sentence that Dandan Tang has been online for 3 months and its monthly revenue exceeded 50 million. Only then did he realize that the humble web game was so profitable. When he heard Li Zhe's name, he felt familiar, but didn't think much about it. It wasn't until Zhou Ziyu said that Li Zhe had a novel website that he realized that he was the protagonist of the news. How much money can Li Zhe's game company make? Asked the boy wearing black-rimmed glasses. His impression of Li Zhe is that he is a master of online writing and is very good at writing books. But according to Li Zhe's book writing is just a side job, and his game company is the most profitable. He shook his head. I don't know exactly how much money he can earn, but his net worth should be much higher than that of Zhou Yiyang's father. Li Zhe's net worth is only much higher than that of Zhou Yiyang's father? The other 3 boys were stunned when they heard this. Zhou Yiyang's father is also a well-known entrepreneur in Hangzhou. He runs a large clothing factory with assets of hundreds of millions. The boy who ridiculed Li Zhe said with some disbelief, what you said is too ridiculous. How long did Li Zhe start his business before he can compare with Zhou Yiyang's father? He let out a breath. I also think it's a bit ridiculous, but people are so awesome. If you don't believe it, you can search Kudong Group online and you will know whether what I say is true or false. After hearing what he said, the boy who mocked Li Zhe stopped talking, and the other 2 boys looked at each other a little bit. After a few seconds, another boy sighed and said, so, Zhou Ziyu has really good taste. That Li Zhe's conditions are indeed much better than Zhou Yiyang. The boy wearing black-rimmed glasses smiled and joked, that's for sure. Looking for the son of a billionaire is not as good as looking for a young billionaire directly. He reached out to stop the car but did not answer. In his heart, he planned to keep in touch with Zhou Ziyu more in the future. Maybe this relationship would come in handy someday. On the Audi A6, Zhang Minjiao was looking for a topic to talk to Xiao Yuan while driving. He liked Xiao Yuan when he was in high school, but unfortunately she had a boyfriend. At the party just now, when Zhang Minjiao heard that Xiao Yuan had broken up with her boyfriend, he immediately felt that an opportunity had come. Zhang Minjiao was chatting with Xiao Yuan, and the 3 girls in the back seat were also chatting. The girl sitting on the left said in an envious tone, it's good to be beautiful. You can find a good boyfriend anywhere. After graduating from high school, Zhou Ziyu did not get together with Zhou Yiyang, but went to remote Hongcheng to go to school. Compared with Cheng Lin, who went to the same university as Zhou Yiyang, she looked like a loser. But it turns out that he is the winner in life. The girl on the right said, but I think the schoolgirl of Zhou University is quite good. He is handsome, has a good personality, and his family still has money. The girl in the middle said disapprovingly, no matter how rich the family is, it is still family money. If you want to spend money, you have to ask for it. Unlike Li Zhe, all the money is earned by himself. The girl on the left nodded and said, yes, he started from scratch, wrote books, opened a company, and used the money he earned to buy a luxury car for his girlfriend. Not only is he handsome, but he is also very capable, and he treats his girlfriend well. In comparison, Zhou Yiyang is a bit naive. Even Cheng Lin can't control him. No wonder Zhou Ziyu didn't like him at the beginning. If it were me, I would choose Li Zhe. The girl in the middle smiled and said, wake up. Neither Li Zhe nor Zhou Yiyang will fall in love with you. If you want to find a good boyfriend, you must be pretty enough. The girl on the left choked, glared at the girl in the middle, and then muttered, boys are too superficial. They only know how to look at faces, and they have to look at the connotation if they don't understand at all. Zhou Ziyu was driving the red Porsche Boxster S and suddenly said softly, it's quite boring. What she said was confusing, but Li Jie understood it, glanced at her and smiled. This little lover of his had just finished Versailles at the class reunion, and now he found it boring again. Thinking this in his heart, Li Jie said, "If you find it boring, just don't attend such gatherings next time." Zhou Ziyu smiled and hummed after hearing this. After a few seconds, she said again, "Husband, it's great to have you." Li Jie smiled after hearing this, "You know I'm good, so just repay me tonight." "How to repay?" Zhou Ziyu asked with a smile. Li Jie looked at her charming face, his heart moved, and he whispered something. After hearing this, Zhou Ziyu hesitated for a moment and said softly, "Yeah." Seeing that she really agreed, Li Jie was a little surprised. This little lover of his is still a bit reserved and can't let go. Unlike Xiaoqiao, as long as he made her happy, she would give in to any excessive demands he made, and sometimes she would even be more proactive than him. "How about calling me President Jiao? She really knows how to do it." The request Li Jie made just now was a bit beyond Zhou Ziyu's bottom line. He didn't expect that she would actually agree. "Husband, as long as you are happy from now on, I will follow you." Zhou Ziyu paused, then hesitantly said something that made Li Jie almost choke. "Husband, if you really want to, when Xiaoqiao comes, I can help you get her drunk." Ahem, Li Jie coughed twice. What happened to his little lover that his attitude suddenly changed so drastically? "Okay, stop thinking about it. I was just joking. How could I only care about myself and ignore your feelings?" Although he was a little tempted by Zhou Ziyu's suggestion, Li Jie knew he must not do that. If he really only cares about himself and forces Xiaoqiao, then he will really be a scumbag. Besides, it's illegal to do something against a girl's will, not even to your own girlfriend. He just wants to enjoy the blessings of everyone, but only if Xiaoqiao and Zhou Ziyu are willing to do so. I'm still not very good at writing pretentious plots.